Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3 FM. This is Atlanta's new home for Fox News, Xtra 106.3 FM. WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. This hour is presented by Subaru of Gwinnett. You'll love the difference.
Reciprocal tariffs on more imports targeting countries that have had charged for American exports.
The tariffs will be far more generous than those countries were to us.
The president on Air Force One last night, flying back to Washington, also touted tariffs on imported cars and trucks and auto parts, saying companies that build cars in the U.S. will make a lot of money. The president also says he'd consider more tariffs on Russia. Upset its leader, Vladimir Putin, while still waging war in Ukraine, called for a new government there to replace President Volodymyr Zelensky.
He considers Zelensky not credible. He's supposed to be making a deal with him, whether you like him or you don't like him. So I wasn't happy with that.
It's up to more than 1,700 people dead now in the earthquake disaster in Burma, where some areas are hard to reach.
Search teams are still working across the region in an attempt to find survivors from the 7.7 magnitude earthquake. In the Burmese city Mandalay, a woman's been found alive after being trapped for more than 60 hours. The true number of people killed and injured is thought to be many times the official figures.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. Another 18 people killed in Bangkok, Thailand, where the quake collapsed a building. Dozens more remain missing. There's been stormy weather from Texas to the Great Lakes. 2 people were killed in Indiana, where Fox Weather's Brandy Campbell also reports.
We've confirmed multiple reports of tennis ball size hail and larger in Arkansas and in Missouri. Now, the strongest wind gust that was recorded at 96 miles per hour in Jackson, Michigan. That state still dealing with issues in terms of power outages.
More than 300,000 homes and businesses without electricity after thick ice glazed over parts of northern Michigan. The Final Four is set in the men's college basketball tournament after Auburn and Houston won, joining Duke and Florida. It's the first time since 2008 that the Final Four are all top seeds from their regions. America's listening to Fox News.
You've likely heard about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too, with their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. An easy, affordable way to see how it could literally change your life. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally, developed by doctors. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily. It helps reduce or eliminate pain. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. Trying it couldn't be easier with their 3-week quick start for only $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call. 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Wherever you're having pain, every day you feel better is a day you live better. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start today. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
The Morning Extra, only on Xtra 106.3.
Morning, y'all. Back at it on a Monday. Tug and front office. Los, along with board op producer Dre. How was your weekend, man?
I can't complain. Everything worked out pretty well. We had the big tournament.
Yeah. I mean, this tournament was all
massive.
3 buildings at the Georgia World Congress Center.
It's massive.
Yeah, gigantor.
I mean, you're talking 10,000 players over the span of 2 weekends. And we got off to a slow start, but finished 6-2.
Let's go.
So, yeah, pretty good little volleyball weekend. And shout out to, first off, my friend Solomon, and then the guy he met who actually listens to the station. And the joke was, hey, I listen to this guy on the radio station. He talks about volleyball all the time. And he's like, let me guess, is his name Front Office Lowe's? And that's where it all went from there. So shout out to both of you, gentlemen.
Yes. Glad y'all are here. Glad you're listening. Appreciate you. And hope y'all's weekend went real well, too.
How was South Carolina?
It was great. It always is, man. If I weren't living in Georgia, the only place I'd ever consider living other than Georgia would be South Carolina. I love it over there.
There's only one reason why I would never consider it.
Why is it?
Palmetto bugs.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that's just a different name for nasty roaches.
That's right. Yeah. It's just, I was going to say, that's just a roach.
All it is.
It's just a fancy name.
Yeah, fancy name for roaches. The state actually decided to give this awful thing a name like it's endearing, like, oh, it's special to this area.
Yeah, especially because, the palmetto tree is on their state flag. I mean, it's a big deal. Palmetto is a big deal over there. So, yes.
They have an entire infestation in the entire state.
Yeah, that's right. It's great.
So gross.
And gross.
But the shrimp and grits are great.
Yes, they are. Very, very good. The team, Jacob's team, has hit a real stride. They got above 500 at the end of at the beginning of last week, and now on an 8-game win streak.
There you go.
3 games above 500 now. Jacob had a great weekend. They swept a team that they lost the series to at their place, USA Union. They swept them this weekend. Jacob hit. He went. Let's see. He had 4 RBI, 4 stolen bases, and hit 400 for the series. So it was good, man.
Pretty good series.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Pretty strong.
Yeah, and everybody did, man. They're just really hitting their stride at the right time. So it was a lot of fun. As you might imagine, anytime you go over and see your kids win, it's a lot.
It's a good time. Yeah, it's a good weekend.
Much more fun than losing, for sure. And then the NCAA tournament said, you heard that in the Fox News update, second time in history that all 4 seeds are, they're going to the Final Four number 1 seeds.
So I was wrong about this because my wife brought this up with me like 2 weeks ago. She's like, haven't all 4 1 seeds ever made it? And I was like, no.
I didn't think so either.
I was like, let me go to Grok.
Yeah.
And the clarification was a little bit funky, and that there's been 3.
It's happened 3 times?
Well, no, that there's at least been 3 1 seeds. But now we, as you get all 4 1 seeds, it does validate what the committee did to show you here are the top 4 teams in the country. And relatively speaking, outside of that Florida matchup that you got on Saturday, nothing was close.
No, everybody just got their tails kicked.
Yeah.
It was, we kind of half paid attention to it, because once, when teams are down by 15, usually things are not going to shape up.
I was interested in the Auburn game because at one point I said, oh, look, it's down to 9.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't. That was about the most fun I was able to get out of the basketball weekend.
Yeah, no doubt. And then the Braves.
Oh, Lord.
Gracious. Well, like I told you, Ray, they got 159 more of them. I think we'll be all right.
That wasn't the first number you told me. So
the first number that jumped out was 359. It was early, though. It was like
a few seasons from now.
It was like 520. So
I mean, you're playing better baseball teams out on the West Coast.
Sure.
It wouldn't surprise me, and I know this sounds like, oh, I'm being inflammatory. If the Dodgers sweep you and you're 0-7, that's also not a surprise.
Yeah,
the Dodgers are the best team in baseball.
Real good.
Who are spending nearly $340 million in payroll. Okay?
Good heavens.
They've doubled the entire field nearly.
Good heavens.
I saw a graphic that said it's who are the big 3 out there? I mean, obviously Ohtani and Freddie, and then
they got Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts, that's the other one. They're going to be paying them until 2080.
Yeah,
millions and millions of dollars.
Lots of bucks.
Well, Ohtani isn't even paid that well.
Yeah, right now because everything's backloaded.
Everything's deferred.
Yeah.
He's getting $2 million a year, and then as soon as he is able to be done with his career and leave L.A. and leave the state of California, then they're like, here's $45 million a year.
Yeah. Goodness gracious. I mean, he's like Bobby Bonilla on steroids.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild contract. And he's got so much in endorsements because he's a worldwide phenomenon, especially in Southeast Asia, Japan, China, South Korea, all these places that enjoy baseball. Ohtani is there. He is the Babe Ruth of this current age of baseball.
Yeah, that's a great comparison with that.
He's got the same numbers at the same point in his career,
and both playing both positions, pitching and hitting. Yeah, I mean, he really is fascinating. Now, I don't believe a minute he didn't know that gambling was going on. However,
I'm right there with you.
However, dang, he's fun to watch.
Baseball's not in the business of trying to get rid of their best players.
No. And I completely understand why. I mean, I get it. You don't want to damage that. But, he's so much fun to watch. I enjoy it. I understand why people love him. But he's just a phenom. It's like nothing we've ever seen before, or at least in my lifetime, ever seen before. But, gosh, man, getting him and Freddie together, Mookie Betts, I mean, it's going to be impossible. I mean, that seems like an unsurmountable.
That's tough.
Unsurmountable odds to be able to climb that.
Well, they pushed the Yankees around in the World Series.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And again, betting odds basically say it's the Dodgers and the Braves as in the National League. All right, let's see if we can score a run.
But I can tell you,
Because it's been a while since opening day.
Have we scored yet? Have we scored? Did we score any runs this week?
5-0 last night.
Yeah, Ozzy had a homer the other night.
And Austin Riley hit it.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right. We ain't scored a lot. We ain't scored much. But not enough to win. I know that.
I did hear on the broadcast yesterday that the Braves might have an order in for some of those Yankees bats. The
I hope so. The torpedo bats. Have you seen those things?
Yeah, wild, aren't they?
They look, remember when you play wiffle balls when you were a kid? You
Yeah.
had the little skinny bat?
Yeah.
And then you had the big red one?
Oh, yeah.
The big red one is the one everybody loves to play with because you hit the ball and it just go a mile. I mean, it seems like that's what the Yankees are doing, which is fine. Just give everybody the bat and let's go. You know what I mean? I'm fine with it as long as everybody's got it.
By the way, since we are talking about this, in terms of runs scored, the Braves have the fewest in the National League. They've scored one less than the Rockies that scored 8. The Braves have scored 7 in 4 games. The Rockies, by the way, their 8 has been in 3 games.
Wow. Holy cow.
So let's get some offense going tonight, everybody, huh? Yeah?
Maybe.
Make this happen?
Let's maybe get a little couple extra
Little
swings.
something, all right?
Couple
Like
extra
out on the West
swings.
Coast.
Couple extra swings and
It
BP.
does make you think about, all right, when do you get Ronnie back? We're not supposed to be doing this after 4 games being, please get me another bat in the lineup.
Right.
Strider looked good in Gwinnett this weekend.
He did. That's exactly right. It was impressive, and I can't wait to see him back in a full Braves uniform. We need that done.
What's it matter? They can't score.
I know, but at least if you could limit the
I'm
other
not
team.
negative Nelly. I'm just pointing out they can't score right now.
Listen, I'm looking at it now. In 2021, when they won the World Series, they were 88-73. So it's a long season.
It is. We got 159 more.
Oh, trust me. We hit the All-Star break, and I was on the phone with, as I braggadocio, Alex Anthopoulos going, so what are we doing from here? And that year they imported an entirely new major league outfield. All right, so sometimes you got to make some moves.
Yeah. So, and we have time to make moves.
It's way too early. It's just that this is what it's supposed to look like when you play San Diego in San Diego and you play LA.
It's like it's kind of like Morgan Wallen was watching the Braves because he's a Braves fan. And he saw what was happening this weekend. He just walked out. That's what he did. Did you see him on Saturday Night Live?
Yeah, he just decided I'm going to go straight down center stage. I'm done with y'all.
You could tell he was pissed, and I don't know what made him pissed, but you could tell he was pissed.
You throw any chairs off the roof?
He didn't. No, he didn't need to. I think the exit right down the middle of. I mean, that's what Prince did. I don't know if y'all watched the SNL 50, the music, and that's exactly what Prince did. He pushed over his microphone stand and walked straight into the camera. I mean, that's a Prince move that Morgan Wallen did. And then he took a picture of that little, I don't know what kind of private jet it was, but it was like, the caption was, "Get me back to God's country. Get me back to Tennessee, because I want away from these fools." And it was funny, did you see Kenan Thompson? He's from Atlanta. He's a mainstay. He's been a Saturday Night Live. Gosh.
I think he's the longest running cast member ever.
I think so. Did you see him?
Is that a proud moment, by the way?
Maybe.
I mean,
maybe.
It's not like there's a ton of money involved.
Yeah, because there's not. Yeah, but I think he's probably making money other way.
If you're into sketch comedy, I mean, there's really no bigger stage than SNL, right?
But everybody works there to then jump to the next thing.
Yeah, they make fun of the fact that they couldn't even afford to buy a couch in their first contract.
Right. I mean, we're a long ways away from Good Burger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, just look up the year. Good Burger.
Yeah. He must be doing okay, though.
Fine, nobody will do it. I'll do it then.
Yeah. Okay. Good Burger of the year? Well, it had to be what? That was
I'm going to say 97.
Yeah, I was thinking 98, but
1997. Good call.
Look at Jeray pulling one. That's awesome. Yeah, so I don't know, but it was
half these people are dead.
Cross them off then.
But Kenan Thompson, keep it going, man.
Yeah, for sure. But anyway, the reason I bring Kenan up is because he noticed that Morgan. He turned around and noticed that Morgan had exited. You can't even say stage left. He exited right out in the middle, and got out of there really, really quickly. I thought it was interesting. I had more. It's funny. I got more texts about that than I got about anything else this weekend. Like, you see
Morgan Wallen just left SNL.
Just walked off stage.
They're wrapping everything up, and he just said, "All right, I'm done."
Even our boy Steve West, old Westy from down the hall.
Westy from down the hall.
Yeah, he was like, dude, if they pissed Morgan off.
He's one of those guys that no matter what it is, it's going to generate a headline.
Yeah, he's that big for sure, no doubt. But I told Westy, because he's a big Vols fan, at the very end, right before he, walked right off stage, he was like, God is good, or God bless y'all, or something, and go Vols. And then hit it. He's a man after my own heart just for that reason alone. Because that's what I would have said, too. I mean, it said go Dogs, but that's exactly what I'd have done. God is good, go Dogs.
You would have looked over at the entire cast. You would have been like this. Keenan, you're awesome. The rest of y'all's, I have no idea who you are.
Exactly.
God is good. See ya.
Yeah. Maybe Colin Jost. Maybe. Is he still
Tell
there?
Scarlett I said hello.
Yeah, exactly. How you doing, girl?
That might be the biggest accomplishment,
dude,
in the cast.
Yes, absolutely. And I still don't
You
get
got
it.
Scar Joe.
I still don't get it.
You got scoreboard over everyone.
I'm still trying to figure it all out because I don't see that one. I mean, he's got nice teeth, I guess. It's a huge smile. That's the only thing I can figure.
I love it. He's got nice teeth.
I mean, he does. He does have great. I mean, his teeth are perfect.
They say if you can make him laugh.
Yeah, and he is pretty funny.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. If you can make him laugh, you can reel him in.
I had a 300-pound friend in college, and he flat out told me, he was like, the only reason I ever get with any woman is because I make them laugh. I was like, you're pretty awesome, Mark.
Good enough, dude. Right on. Did y'all see what the Texas A&M Kentucky game? There was like a curfew in the game, and the coaches got into a shouting match over the weekend about it. They were screaming at one another, and I still to this moment don't know exactly what happened. Everything I've read is there was a curfew. I guess they have to be done with the game by a particular time because they have a time that they're mandated to travel by. And I don't know if that shortened the game. I have no idea. Do you know what I'm talking about?
So you have a 20-hour rule.
Okay.
That is out there in collegiate sports. And the one sport that ever gets close to it is baseball. Because there's no clock.
Mm-hmm.
And so the issue ends up becoming you have to build in travel time into the 20-hour rule.
Okay.
So I can imagine that at some point they're like, we're like dangerously close here.
Yeah, and the Texas A&M coach was screaming. He said it's even embarrassing to talk about. And they interviewed him whatever afterwards, but in the video that I saw that piqued my interest early this morning was those two coaches physically screaming from the dugouts at each other. I mean, you would have thought somebody called somebody's mama ugly or something. I mean, they're pointing fingers and screaming at the top of their lungs, and it kept bubbling up on social media last night. I had no idea. And I'm glad that you make it make sense, or at least a little bit.
Well, I'll point this out.
Okay.
So it does have during the in-season period, championship or non-championship segments, a student-athlete may participate in a maximum of 20 hours per week of countable athletically related activities. That does include travel.
Wow. And so it seems like maybe they had to end the game early, something. And they, like I said, I've never seen two coaches go at each other like that before over something that wasn't like a play or a call. I mean, they were just screaming to the top of them. I've never seen two coaches so pissed in my whole life, except for Jacob's coach that got the hook this weekend. And I'll tell you why in a minute.
By the way, that does not include, for instance, study hall.
Okay,
right, your
well, that
assigned
makes sense.
study hall,
Yeah.
not a problem.
That makes
Compliance
sense.
meetings, not a problem.
Yep.
Let's
travel.
see. Meetings with coach initiated by the student athlete does not count. But everything else, that's why it never happened to me as a collegiate baseball player because you had built-in days during the week where it was non-supervised. Like, okay, you're going to go to the batting cage and you're going to get some work in, and there's no coaches that are allowed to be there.
Yeah.
And so you would way go over the 20-hour rule, but it was
Sure.
not supervised. If it's supervised and it's run by the coach, it's 20 hours.
Yeah. As I know, Jacob and his buds, they go hit every night.
Yeah.
After practice, they go hit every night. There's a facility that's privately owned that they go to that they have access to.
Outside the 20-hour
That's
rule.
exactly right. They just go and wear it out. Every time I try to call him, he's like, I'll go back. Hitting right now. We got to hit right now. And so his coach, there was a balk call in the game. Coach goes out to argue the call. They start barking at each other. Then it gets pretty heated. And the umpire says, well, it turns out that your team is not coached very well if they don't understand what a balk is.
Oh.
That set, they call him 1-9 because he's been coaching in South Carolina for 40 years, and every year he's ever coached, he's wore the number 19. So they call him 1-9. 1-9 has none of that. They have to separate these two. I mean, they were chest shoving each other. I mean, it was.
I do enjoy when there's a lot of anger on a baseball field.
Yes, let me tell you. And from that moment, about the fourth inning, when Coach got the hook, the bats came alive again. And they just started drilling the team. And then they ultimately walked it off, run ruled the team in Game 3 of the sweep, all after their coach got the hook because he was out there defending his team. Ain't nothing like getting a team fired up, Los, when you hook their coach.
Yeah, it gets your attention.
Certainly does.
Bobby Cox,
That's
the
right.
greatest of all time.
That's right. It was one of those Bobby Cox moments, too. Morning Xtra and Xtra 106.3. When we come back, Congressman Buddy Carter joined us on Friday, and we're going to revisit and play the best and most important points of the discussion. We'll get you the headlines in there. We got sports coming up, too. It's on the Morning Xtra. Good Monday morning. Tug, Los, and Dre here on Xtra. The legend Neil Bortz is only on Xtra 106.3. Hey, it's Tug, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
Not only do we all belong to the government by default, we all belong to government unions. Is that the process that's going on in the minds of these people, blindly criticizing any attempt to cut back the size and power of the federal government? Think about it.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
Hey, good morning. It's Los. Let's talk about True Prep. And let me tell you about when things changed for me when it came to being ready for any situation that ever occurs. It was October 2018. I will never forget what occurred when you had big old nasty Cat 5 Hurricane Michael came up from the Gulf Coast, tore apart Florida, went into South Georgia, and just ripped everything apart. And the big thing was my wife and I headed down to Florida, and it was such a big deal for people to just have clean water and food and just the little things that we all consider to be necessities. Do you have power? Do you have the ability to be able to go ahead and cook food? That is why I was a big person that started getting into just being prepared. And when it comes to being prepared, that is what True Prep helps you do. It's about making sure that no matter what occurs, you are ready to roll. There's a whole lot of options that they have out there for you. When it comes to freeze-dried food, dehydrated, canned foods, they have all of that. Water purification systems. Do not take this stuff for granted. We've all dealt with Snowmageddon when that occurred. A lot of us got locked into our homes for several days. Are you ready when something crazy like that occurs? That is what True Prep helps you do. It helps you prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow. Their staff, it's not only just the expert information, but they are consultative. When you say, hey, listen, this is what I'm looking to do, they can help you out from there. Maybe you're just big into like the hiking and camping scene. They have equipment for that as well. And don't forget, they also have classes that can help you on a regular basis to get you ready. Visit True Prep at 1000 Kyle Parkway in Marietta, or go to visit TRUPREP.com. That's TRUPrep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow with True Prep.
Neil Bortz here. Maybe you've already taken the steps to improve your health, maybe save your life. You're using a CPAP for your sleep apnea. I've been using one for well over 20 years. So right now, I'm here to tell you about a source for CPAPs and CPAP supplies here in the Atlanta area. CPAPs, etc. They're in Alpharetta. They have whatever you need. Roddy and Sharon are your CPAP experts, and they'll ship nationwide. More information, CPAPs.com.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Retirement means different things to different people. Some folks want to travel the world. Some folks want to spend more time with grandkids. For me, I'm looking forward to spending more time with my guitar. Whether extravagant and robust or simple and cozy, every retirement needs a plan. You wouldn't take a trip without directions. You have to know where you are before you know where you're going. Master Plan Retirement Consultants have helped many like you plan for their own retirement. Not only does Master Plan help you create the roadmap, they join you on the journey. So whether you want to travel the world, become a pickleball champ, or just looking for a good porch, a sturdy rocking chair, and an acoustic guitar, remember to plan well because the destination is worth it. Visit masterplanretire.com to schedule your complimentary consultation today.
If you're the decision maker at your company, we have great news for you, for your HR department, and for your employees. A new and future-forward way to do health benefits is here from Thatch. Not only do your employees get better health benefits with Thatch, but you save an average of $1,620 per employee per year. That's right. You can save over $1,600 per employee per year. Plus, Thatch reduces the time your HR department spends administering benefits. Businesses all over the country love Thatch's breakthrough approach. Rather than a wasteful one-size-fits-all plan, Thatch empowers your employees by letting them customize their own benefits plans. And you save money and time while providing your employees with better health benefits, which works better for everyone. Book a demo with Thatch and we'll send you a $100 gift card. Visit thatch.ai/radio to book a demo for your gift card. That's THATCH.ai/radio. Thatch.ai/radio.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your headlines for Monday, March 31st. Cobb County servers are back online after a week of interference. Officials say unusual activity was detected and an unauthorized user gained access. Portions of the system were taken offline to evaluate security. Officials have not said if sensitive data was breached. Georgia shattered a previous record for pollen count over the weekend. On Saturday, the pollen count reached over 14,000. The previous record was 9,300. The Georgia legislative session is approaching its end this week. Georgia lawmakers voted down a measure for their own pay increase. This includes Governor Kemp. Today's weather storms moving through the metro area, producing damaging winds and rain. There is a small chance of hail and even a tornado. Temperatures today reach the high 60s. It'll dry out this evening, and we may see record high temperatures later this week. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
Buddy Carter joins us. How are you, Congressman?
I am doing wonderful. I'm delighted to be here. Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, you're always welcome.
Well, I've got to start and ask. We get a lot of visits from people running for office, but you were neither running for office. You just happened to be in Atlanta and are like big fan of the station. Want to come see where the Braves are produced. What draws you to Atlanta this morning?
Well, we're up here visiting. In full disclosure, I've got grandbabies in Buckhead, so that's a pretty big draw for me.
Yes, sir. Good reason to get to Metro Atlanta.
It is.
And opening day yesterday, so this place will be packed this time next week. Absolutely packed with Braves fans and people that love this state and love this country. And I think that's where I want to start is what's been the change in Washington, D.C. as far as the attitude, the spirit, the feeling? Because all of a sudden, it's popular again to love America. And I think Donald Trump, for all the man's faults, right? We all have them. And I don't say that as a guy throwing stones. I say it as a broken sinner that needs the Lord more than anybody. He has made it cool again in the culture. He's made it cool again around the world that America is that shining city on the hill, and he wants to get back there. We've not been there in a long time.
Absolutely. And I will tell you, this is my 11th year in Congress, my 6th term. And I tell people all the time, the shine hasn't worn off for me. I'm still excited every time I go back up there, and it's such an honor and a privilege. But I will tell you, in the 11 years I've been here, I've never seen the enthusiasm. I've never seen as much excitement as we have, not even in his first term. His second term, this time, this administration, the enthusiasm, the excitement that we have again, that America is going to be number one again. And that we're going to be successful under his leadership, and it's phenomenal if you ask me. And I will tell you that we're dedicated. The Republican Conference is dedicated to making sure that we fulfill what we feel like was a mandate from the American people back in November, that they wanted change, and that Donald Trump and his administration were going to bring that change.
I want to ask you about the continuing resolution that was passed within the last couple of weeks. When you look at the sentiment with Elon Musk, and I'm sure he probably scares the hell out of plenty of y'all on our team, but when you look at that and you look at the logic and reason that got trotted out about we expect this level of growth and it's going to match this level of spending, and it didn't really cut a lot of spending. Do you think that the next time, do you think that it's 13 appropriations bills, do you think the country will get back and the Republicans have the stroke in the Congress to actually be who they always campaigned to be?
I do feel like we are. I'm very confident in our conference and us coming together. We've got a very slim majority, and we have to keep that in mind. In fact, I think it's interesting to note that the Senate has more of a majority than we do in the House, and that's highly unusual. But if we stay together, and I believe we can stay together, then we can get some great things accomplished. We've got to get the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, the tax relief that was passed during the first Trump administration. We've got to get that passed. If we don't, just for instance, a Georgia family, an average family of four making $75,000 a year, if we do not pass this tax cuts and extend these tax cuts, they will see a tax increase of over $1,500 a year. That's almost 8 weeks worth of groceries. We've got to get these extended. That is of the most important thing we've got to do. And the president has made it clear that he wants this done, and he wants it done quickly. And we've already passed our budget resolution, the reconciliation resolution in the House. We've sent it over to the Senate. They have said that they're going to take it up by the end of next week or the first of the following week. I'm encouraged to hear that. I hope that they will take up our resolution. It's a good product. I'm on the budget committee. I helped to pass that product. But at the same time, if they're not, we need to know what they want to change, because we need to get to our final numbers. Tell us what it is that we've got to achieve. I serve on the Energy and Commerce Committee, and I'm very honored to serve as the chair of the Health Subcommittee. And be careful what you ask for, because 10 years I've been aspiring to hold that position. I get it all of a sudden, and they come to me and say, oh, by the way, we're going to need a lot of savings from you.
Yeah.
I said, oh, well, thank you very much.
But we need them.
We do need them.
But we need them across so many things. And that's the thing that concerns me, is the spending. I believe that Donald Trump loves the country. I believe he's going to make good policy decisions for the country. He's going to put us in a position to win. He said you're going to get tired of winning. I don't believe that. I love to win. I will get a Braves World Series championship every year and delighted by it. Give me a UGA national championship every year. Go Dogs. I'll be all about it. So I love winning, and I love the fact that everything is trending in the direction of winning. But I don't know that we can rein in the spending truly. I've seen it. I've been told my entire life we're gonna fix this. And the Republicans have led the charge, and they've always said it, and it's never gotten done for whatever reason. And there's lots of blame to go around. That's the one thing that I feel like we're not going to get right, and I don't know when we will. How do you respond to that? Because I think most people listening right now feel that way, and I think most people in Georgia and around the country feel that way. That they love what we're doing. They love the direction we're going in, but the spending has to come and make sense. You can't spend your way out of debt.
No, you can't. And you're absolutely right. I think that most Georgians and most Americans are very concerned about this and don't think that we can get it under control. Here's the problem. It's the non-discretionary spending 100%. That we don't really have control over. Well, I'm talking about Social Security. Yes, I'm talking about Medicaid and Medicare.
100%.
70% of our budget right there. And we can't even touch it. And we've got to. You could cut out all the discretionary spending that we have, including defense, and you still wouldn't be able to balance the budget unless you address those three things.
I don't know that anybody's brave enough to tackle it, and including our own conference, our own party. I don't believe the Republicans. Is it courage? I don't know if the right word to use, because I don't want to be disrespectful, but it takes some real courage to even mention Social Security. It takes real courage to mention cutting back, because as I've told you when you've been on before, I don't think Social Security is going to be there for me. As a 48-year-old man right now, I don't expect it. So at what point between now and when I get to that point are we going to say, yeah, this it's just not going to be there?
Well, you're absolutely right. I've often asked that question. What's it going to take? Is it going to take something catastrophic to happen in order for us to address this? And I hope that's not the case, but I got a feeling that is going to be the case. Look, Social Security, we can fix Social Security, but it's got to be done in a bipartisan fashion. It would be political suicide for any one party to try to do it by themselves. It has to be done in a bipartisan fashion, and we have to work together on it. And we can get it fixed without impacting anyone who is currently getting it or anyone who is going to be getting it in the near future. We just simply use some common sense and say, look, people are living longer now. Perhaps we need to tell 30 and 30-year-olds and 20-year-olds, hey, you're going to have to wait an extra year before you can start taking your Social Security.
Well, I'm 42 years old. To Tug's point, if you told me that it's 68 and a half and not 67, okay. Like, I have time to back into that as a guy who does the right things, lives the right way, invests in certain things. It's far enough down the road for me that I'm not going to kill you at the ballot box over having an honest conversation with a 42-year-old who's like, we've done some things that are wrong, and we've all done some things that are wrong, and that's the way to preserve it. And I actually think that if you poll tested that amongst 40-year-olds, which isn't easy, that you would see we're probably, Tug and I aren't that different. Tell me the truth.
Exactly. Exactly.
I want to ask you about, you're by trade a pharmacist, and you look at things with Robert F. Kennedy, and I'm sure as not a physician, but as a pharmacist, I'm sure you have disagreements with him, because we should all have disagreements with each other, and that makes
good for good debate, man.
Neither doesn't make either of you bad people, but he has talked about pharmaceutical companies and advertising, and Tug and I were having this conversation yesterday, and I honestly don't know how I feel, where there are certain Western countries where you're not allowed to advertise if you're a pharmaceutical company. How do you feel about that, having sat at multiple levels of government and sat, for all intents and purposes, in the business? I think that is
right.
You don't get that question very often.
No, I don't. Well, but I have thought about it, and I often wonder, and I say to myself, if it didn't work, they wouldn't do it.
Correct.
So evidently it works. But if you've only, I see the advertisement for this rare form of cancer that this drug treats, and I think to myself, first of all, how many people have that rare form of cancer, and how many of those people are watching this commercial and they're going to go to the doctor and say, this is the drug I want?
Right.
I
think 0% of the time. maybe
somebody does.
Maybe. Well, but no, I think it's. Here's the thing that I see, because I struggle with it too, as a guy that loves capitalism and thinks that's the best way moving forward. However, I know what it does to CNN, Fox News, CBS, AB, all the network, everybody that the mainstream media at large. They get these huge checks from these companies. They don't care if you go in and ask your doctor about a drug. They don't want you talking bad about them on the air. That's the reason they spend that type of money. So that's the only, and I'm a capitalist, but that's the only thing that I see as a problem. You can't get these networks. We have autonomy here at Dickey Broadcasting, which is great, and I appreciate it. We've never been told what we can ask and what we can't. But these people are not going to talk bad about the companies that are spending $50 million with them. That's the issue that I see.
And certainly I can understand, having been in business for 32 years, I was always careful who...
you have to be.
Well, you got to be realistic.
It's common sense. It's logical.
And at the same time, the Sackler family did some crappy things.
Yes, absolutely.
On television.
And got what they deserved.
Sure.
And it's just horrible. I practiced through that. Through that opioid epidemic, and now we've got a fentanyl epidemic.
Yes, we do.
And thank goodness the president has secured that border to stop the flow of those illegal drugs that are poisoning our citizens. And thank goodness he's done that. And that was one of the things that he said during the campaign. I'm going to secure that border. Now arrests at that border or apprehensions at that border are down 93%. I mean,
we, like he said at the speech at the joint session of Congress, we didn't need new laws. We needed a new president, and that's by and large true. I mean, it's so obvious, and I love the fact that he's doing that. I love the fact that he's cracked down, and the American people support it. Everybody knows if you don't have a border, you don't have a country. That's not even political. That's just logic. That's just common sense. Everybody sees that, and so I'm proud of him for doing that. Now we've got to maintain it, and I think he will. I don't expect at any point that we're going to struggle with that during his 4 years in his tenure, or J.D. Vance coming behind him.
Absolutely.
God willing.
Or Buddy Carter.
Yeah, that's right. President Carter. Are
you here to announce that you're running for president?
No, I'm not here to announce that.
Makes sense enough to me. But I do believe him there. I know those priorities are important, and he's done well. Let's talk about tariffs a little bit, because there's great signage all over Metro Atlanta. Y'all saw it this morning. We've been talking about it for the last couple of days. The Canadians, the government there, have bought billboards in Metro Atlanta. And I bet if they bought them here, they're in New York, L.A., Boston, Chicago, everywhere. And it basically says tariffs are a tax, and it rotates whether groceries or automobile, whatever it is, and then paid for by the Canadian government. They're in a pickle. They are concerned about Donald Trump's tariffs because they are already showing fruits. They're already working.
And this is a tool in his tool chest. I mean, let's face it, say what you will about Donald Trump. He is a great negotiator.
Yes, sir, he is.
I'd hate to have to sit across the table from him and negotiate something. But I will tell you, he has used it, I think, masterfully.
Me too.
If you look at what has happened, first of all, he was sending 2 plane loads of illegal immigrants and criminals back to Colombia. And Colombia said, no, we're not going to take them. He said, okay, 25% tariff. And
like
said,
hell you're not.
Yes, sir, you are.
And all of a sudden they said, never mind, we'll bring our plane over there and pick them up.
We'll come pick them up for you.
Exactly. And he did the same thing with Canada and Mexico at the very beginning. He said, look, unless you secure that border and stop the flow of the illegal drugs coming across that border, we're going to impose a 25% tariff. And what did Mexico do? They said, okay, we'll send 10,000 troops up there right now. And sure enough, that border is secured now. Now, we still got work to do. There's no question about that. But at the same time, he has achieved what he wanted to achieve. And I would submit to you that he's going to achieve even more with it. It is a tool in his tool chest.
Judge Boasberg, he's the one that ruled, he's on the wrong side of history. I know his politics, and I understand why he's doing what he's doing. Doesn't make me like it. It actually infuriates me. If you're saying you must turn around a plane full of Venezuelan gang members that are killing people, that are the most violent, if you're saying you must turn them around and bring them back to the United States, you are on the wrong side of the issue, period, hands down. And now he's got this new ruling, you must save all the Signal chat messages. Got it. Right. Was that a mistake? Was it clumsy? Absolutely. Did it kill 13 people? It did not. So we're seeing Donald Trump being challenged at the judicial level. What's your take on that? Because we got to fix that. This is ridiculous, sir.
It is ridiculous to have, with all due respect, to have a circuit court judge making these kind of decisions and blocking the president of the United States, who's under a clear mandate from the American people, overwhelmingly elected back in November, and said what he was going to do. Now he's doing it. That's the difference between him and other presidents. He said what he was going to do, and he actually does it. If you look at everything that's happening, if you see that the tariffs that he's enacting, if you see what the policies are, he said he was going to do this. If you look at DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, if you remember, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, both of them campaigned on that. They said, we're going to cut government. We're going to cut the size of government. But the difference between what they campaigned on and what Donald Trump campaigned on is that Donald Trump is doing it.
Absolutely doing it. We got more with the Congressman, Buddy Carter, representing District 1 down in Savannah. This is the Morning Xtra, Tug and Los until 10. Ben Burnett, former Alpharetta City Councilman and host of the Ben Burnett Show that you hear weekly, Saturdays and Sundays on Xtra 106.3. In for Los. We'll get your headlines coming up. And more with Congressman Carter. Next on Xtra 106.3.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Monday, March 31st. The Final Four is now set. All 4 1 seeds have reached San Antonio. Auburn, Duke, Florida, and Houston will match up beginning next Saturday night. The Braves are now 0-4 to start the season as they were swept in San Diego. The team moves on to LA to face the Dodgers in a 3-game series beginning tonight. Grant Holmes will be on the mound for the Braves against Tyler Glasnow. First pitch is set for 10:10. You can hear that game on our sister station's brand new app, 680 The Fan. And from the NFL, the tush push play, made famous by the Philadelphia Eagles and the Buffalo Bills, has support within the competition committee to ban the play. The Green Bay Packers proposed banning that play last week. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Don't miss the Braves home opener at Truist Park April 4th through the 10th when the Marlins and Phillies come to town. Fans can enjoy some fun during the week, including Braves Walk on April 4th, where fans can line the streets of the Battery Atlanta as the team parades down the street and into the ballpark, welcoming in the 2025 season. And of course, the Braves are back with some iconic giveaways and ticket packages like the Chris Sales Cy Young bobblehead presented by Delta Airlines on April 9th. And brand new to the lineup this year, the Hello Kitty ticket package on April 10th, which includes an exclusive Braves and Hello Kitty co-branded light-up figurine. Plus, don't miss the first Kids Club Day on Sunday, April 6th, where the first 3,000 kids will receive a Chris Sale Triple Crown to wear. Some great seats still remain, and it's the perfect way to spend your spring break. Visit Braves.com/promos to check out the fun and freebies during the opening homestand and purchase your tickets. Atlanta Braves Baseball. We are Braves Country.
Central Heating and Air Conditioning wants you to know the start of the new season is the perfect time to ensure your home's comfort. Don't wait like most people do to have your HVAC system serviced. Your home should have maintenance twice a year. Maintenance helps keep your system running at peak efficiency and extends the life of your equipment. So turn to Atlanta's Carrier experts for your system's maintenance. With Central, you get Carrier products, Carrier warranty, and Carrier peace of mind. It's allergy season, and Central Heating and Air can fix what ails your house and possibly your family with home ventilation and air quality products. Central has packages designed around health using variable speed, fresh air ventilation, air cleaners, air purifiers, dehumidifiers, and more. Central Heating and Air is one of the few second-generation, locally owned and operated HVAC companies in Atlanta. With Central, you're not just a number, you're a member of the family. It's been that way since 1947, and they've serviced over 100,000 customers right here in Atlanta. Call 770-GET-HEAT or go to centralheat.com.
We're smart, we care. We're Central Heating and Air.
There are crazies on the road. Who knows where they're all going, but if one of them hits you, don't take care of it on your own. Call my friend David Van Sant. He is the lawyer that used to work for the insurance company. The team at Van Sant Law knows who to call, what to say, and will make sure you get what you deserve and what the insurance company doesn't want to pay for. They have your best interest at heart and will take care of everything. If you don't get paid, they don't get paid. My advice, save Van Sant Law in your phone. Today, 855-GA-INJURY, vansantlaw.com.
A musician with technical knowledge can play all the right notes. But one who cares enough to play from the heart gives music soul. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking. Because when you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Start feeling unstoppable. Visit Truist.com/care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
April 6th at Tropical Smoothie Cafe, rewards members get $5 off an acai bowl or an acai bowl with Nutella. Log into the app on April 6th to redeem your rewards. Terms and conditions apply.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
The Morning Extra from 6 to 10. Glenn Beck until noon. Clay and Buck from noon to 3. And The Kimmer Show on your ride home from 3 to 6. Plus Jesse Kelly from 6 to 9. And Jimmy Vela from 9 to midnight. The voices you need all day with a conservative voice of Atlanta. Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. This morning, Congressman Buddy Carter with us and stayed a little longer, and we appreciate your time, Congressman, but the things that you're talking about are so important to the people that listen to this station. But they want to know, I feel like, Congressman, that people like you are doing your best to make that agenda happen, that America First agenda happen. And I know how important that is to you.
It is important, and something that Jason mentioned during his call was that we need to codify some of these things. You know, that pendulum that I referred to earlier, swinging back and forth with executive orders, it just changes. You know, the next president could come in and do something else. That's why it's important for us to codify these things. Let's take, for instance, DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, and what they are finding. Well, what they're finding is significant, over $100 billion already, and they're just getting started using 21st century technology and algorithms and all the things. You know, our checks and balances are antiquated, but theirs are not, and that's why they're able to uncover a lot of this stuff. But they can only do so much. The actions that have been taken by the president in executive order. We need to codify it in Congress. That's why we have a DOGE caucus, and I'm a member of the DOGE caucus, and that's going to be our responsibility. Take what they find, put it into legislation, and then codify it so it's permanent.
Talk about, there's nothing that has changed, and you start to see the data centers and the connectivity and the power consumption that is
holy smokes,
getting ever more drastic. And you've seen conversations around intellectual property with respect to China. You've seen conversations around TikTok. Is it good? Is it bad? Depends on who the president is, and depends on the day, and depends on whether or not the platform likes him. Just talk about the shifts you've seen in technology and what you know from a federal standpoint that your average workforce member needs to know, and the adjustments that you think this country is going to take in the next 10 years?
Well, they're going to be significant. I will tell you, the buzzword in every committee in Congress in Washington, D.C. is AI. Every committee has a hearing on AI and how it's going to impact their jurisdiction. Energy and commerce, we have, and I chair healthcare. We have hearings on AI being used in healthcare. What's going to be the impact? How can we prepare for it? Same thing. In every other committee, natural resources, how is AI? And it has so much of an impact, such a broad impact. We need to have some guardrails, particularly on the internet we haven't really made any changes since the 1996, 1997, and look how much it's changed.
Yeah, it's a whole different world.
It's not the same
close. And you saw what they did in the Georgia state legislature and with no phones in elementary and middle schools and all. That's in energy and commerce, we have jurisdiction. We have a communications technology subcommittee, and that's what they're looking at now. They're looking at COSA, the Kids Online Safety Act. How can we give parents tools to use to protect their children and to protect them from trafficking, protect them from illegal drugs that are on the internet, all of those things. You know, whereas the internet has such great benefits, it's also got some great downfalls that we need to protect our children from. And all of those things are extremely important. And you know, I believe in state sovereignty, and I want states to have the ability to make their own laws. But then again, you need some kind of consistency, as we talked about earlier, from a federal level.
Do you believe in the long term? Because you look at, I don't have to tell anybody who the axis of evil is here in 2025.
Iran, China.
Correct. The greatest hits collection of people who are always our enemies. Korea. And if they don't play by the same rules, and we have these safeguards in place, I don't know. I don't think anybody knows what the answer is. What do you say? Because I'm sure that is a constant conversation, and I've seen Vice President Vance say, I really kind of want to watch AI for a little while and see where some of these nation states want to go. And I trust him because he kind of comes out of that world.
But adding to that, because we just added, 50 Chinese companies to a blacklist we can't share, or they are not able to share in technologies with like super chips and NVIDIA products and all that. But I think those all go hand in hand, right? I mean, because we're in that great unknown about AI. It could be the greatest thing we've ever seen, or it could turn into Terminator 2.
And we have to be careful about what we do because we don't want to stifle innovation. I still would submit to you that the greatest scientists, the greatest innovators are right here in the United States of America. And we don't want to stifle innovation. They have done that in Europe. They've come up with some pretty harsh rules, and they've got protections, but they've also stifled innovation. And we don't want that to happen. So you're talking about walking a fine line here. I mean, it's not easy.
And something that Ben and I were talking about earlier, as we talked to Congressman Buddy Carter, District 1, kind enough to visit with us, even go a little long this morning, is the power consumption. And we started kind of this conversation about making sure that the United States has readily available power, and that's the foundation of our economy. It's so important. Wind and solar ain't going to do it. I mean, that's a marketing scheme. It's all that is. But then when you think about AI being brought into this conversation, that ups the ante even more.
Absolutely.
It takes what I've read and the way I understand it, it takes to generate one AI picture that happens thousands of times every second. It's the same amount of energy to charge your entire iPhone from 0 to 100%. In an instant, that energy has to be available. How do we make that work? Is Georgia Power involved in that? What is it that we have to do to be prepared for this as a state?
We have to be prepared as a state, and
the federal. I know, yeah.
But from our country standpoint,
right?
We need. That's why we need an all of the above type energy strategy. We need to use them all. We need every electron we can get. There's no question about that, because we're going to have a shortage of electricity, and not only that, but we have to concentrate on transmission. We have to concentrate on cybersecurity.
Oh my gosh!
All of those things. The next war is going to be fought. It's going to be a cyber war.
Yes, it is.
That's
it's already there.
It's already there.
It is.
I mean, the federal government's already said that China has infiltrated cities in Massachusetts. They could physically flip the switch and they have no power. They have no water. If they've done it there and they're admitting it, the federal government is saying that out loud, that means it's happened not just there, but a lot of places across the country.
That's right. And that's why it's so important for us to address those situations now instead of after it happens. And perfect example, look at what has happened out west with all the fires and everything, because they haven't done their job. That's what President Trump's pointed out. If you guys had done your job and prepared for this, it wouldn't have happened. Maybe at least not to the extent that
Certainly
it happened.
Not.
And that's why it's important for us to be forward-looking in Congress and to address these kind of issues. And sometimes it can be very frustrating, like beating your head against the wall sometimes. But we I'd like to think we've done some good things and really have addressed some things that need to be addressed.
We appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Thank y'all for having me.
And
it's always a pleasure.
You're
Thank
always
you.
welcome, and your input is valued. And we appreciate what you're bringing to Washington D.C. in a city that I have not a lot of love for. I love it. I love it when I go and visit because of the history. Yes, that's right. I love the history. Sometimes I get sideways with the people trying to make history up there. But we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Gosh, it was so great to have Congressman Carter in, and the fact that he reached out to us was like, hey, we know what kind of audience that y'all have at Extra 106.3 and what you've built there. I want to come speak to your audience. So that means a lot about you and says a lot about you. And we appreciate you taking the time to listen to Extra. And whether on the app, 106.3 FM, YouTube channel, good morning to those watching on YouTube. It's great just to see it grow. And hopefully it will continue. 6 o'clock hours brought to you by Subaru of Gwinnett. When we come back, Laura Logan calls out the mainstream media, calls their baby ugly to their face.
Pre-owned car or truck. But you don't need the headache of searching for one. Spending hours calling dealerships, then spending half the day filling out paperwork.
Come on.
You need the Honest Car Guy.
Hey, this is Tom from the Honest Car Guy. We help you buy your next pre-owned car or truck honestly. We guarantee you each vehicle we sell will come with a copy of the bill of sale, showing what we paid for it. You pay what we pay, plus a disclosed fee. Guaranteed.
Get an Honest Car Buy from the Honest Car Guy. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME, the number 1, or visit honestcarguy.com.
Atlanta, it's Mark from the Safe House. Now that President Trump has unburdened us from what could have been, our country's finally headed in the right directions. But the Democrats are screaming and yelling and losing their minds. And unfortunately, the bad guys are still here and they want your stuff. Thank you, Joe Biden. And customers are still reporting break-ins and thefts of their hard-earned valuables. Don't wait till it's too late. Get a quality safe from the Safe House. We carry the largest selection of safes in the Southeast. And remember, gun safes are sales tax-free at Atlanta Safe House. So give us a call or go to atlantasafehouse.com.
It's March 31st, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. It's National Crayon Day. For kids and adults alike, take some time to find a box of crayons, a pad of blank paper, and let your imaginations just go. Edwin Binney, along with his cousin, founded the art supply company Crayola in 1885 and have been fueling creativity ever since. Blue remains the most popular crayon, followed by red, violet, and green. Also on this date, in 1889, the Eiffel Tower officially opens as part of the Paris Exposition. Gustave Eiffel's creation would hold the distinction of being the tallest man-made structure in the world for more than 4 decades. And in 1985... Hulk Hogan and Mr. T beat the team of Rowdy Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff in the main event match of the first WrestleMania at Madison Square Garden in New York City. I'm Tushar Saxena, and that's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. This hour is presented by Van Sant Law, vansantlaw.com.
He says he'll target all countries. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, on what President Trump calls Liberation Day, Wednesday, when reciprocal tariffs go into effect on countries that have levies on American exports.
They will be kinder than those countries were to the United States of America over the decades.
The president also says new U.S. tariffs on foreign cars and auto parts will mean
people that manufacture automobiles in the United States are going to make money the likes of which they've never seen before.
On Air Force One flying back to Washington, the president also again suggested that people want him to run for a third term. And though the Constitution only allows 2, he told NBC there are methods to allow it. And as Fox's Madeline Rivera reports, he also discussed the war in Ukraine that he's trying to end.
President Trump is criticizing both Russia and Ukraine. The president saying he would consider imposing secondary tariffs on Russia if he believes it were at fault for not reaching a ceasefire deal in Ukraine. This comes after Russian President Vladimir Putin called for a transitional government to replace Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. But the president is also criticizing Zelensky, who he says is now trying to reverse course on a rare minerals deal.
If he's looking to renegotiate the deal, he's got big problems.
Nearly a week after 4 American soldiers went missing during training in Lithuania, still no sign of them.
But rescue workers at a military training area in Lithuania have managed to haul the M88 Hercules armoured vehicle out of the peat bog. The Lithuanian Defence Ministry says military police and US investigators are still at the site. Poland's been helping out too, sending scuba divers and equipment to assist in the search.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. In Burma, it's up to more than 1,700 people now dead in the earthquake disaster there. In France, Conservative leader Marine Le Pen's been barred from seeking public office after being convicted today of embezzling European money along with other members of her political party. They and Le Pen face up to 10 years in prison. America's listening to Fox News.
You've likely heard about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too, with their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. An easy, affordable way to see how it could literally change your life. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally, developed by doctors. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily. It helps reduce or eliminate pain. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. Trying it couldn't be easier with their 3-week quick start for only $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call. 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Wherever you're having pain, every day you feel better is a day you live better. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start today. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Extra 106.3 wants to know, is this what you voted for? Call 404-741-1230 and let us know on the Morning Extra.
Democrats would tell you no. They would tell you that there's Republicans begging them to do something. It's not what they voted for. I believe they lying. That's what I believe.
Well, I've talked to a lot of Trump voters, and they said this is not what they voted for, and they are looking to switch their vote.
That's right. You see it on social media.
Isn't that what they tell each other?
Yes.
Privately, and then they put it out there on social media.
Let's say this, and everybody say it at the same time and post it out on
It's
social media.
exactly what I voted for.
100%. 100%. And then, was it Wednesday is when all the tariffs are going to hit. That's going to be, dude.
April 2nd, here it comes.
You want to talk about getting people sideways. That's going to be glorious. It's going to be glorious. It's exactly what I voted for because I do believe that it will work. You're already seeing the fruits of those tariffs working in America, in the economy, working for companies that are bringing their manufacturing back to the United States, and that's exactly what the plan is. Build it from the bottom up. Build it from the foundation up.
Well, the United Auto Workers basically sat out the election. Their leadership would not endorse, although when it came to the rank and file, they were all talking about Donald Trump.
Who they were voting for.
As of last week, hey, these tariffs are going to help us big time. Like, if you can win the auto workers, if you can win the unions, especially when it's trade oriented, man, you're doing some stuff. You're in a good place.
Indeed. And I can't wait to see the meltdown, though. I think that's what I'm looking forward to the most, is just seeing the crazy meltdown that's coming. Because people are going to be like, oh, my God.
Well, Tug, you don't understand because you're not aware of this. Your eggs are going to go up twofold.
Yeah, right. Well, they're down, I don't know, about 70%.
Well, hold on. The Canadians told me that tariffs are taxes.
Oh, I know. It wasn't just in Metro Atlanta either. We saw them on the way to South Carolina this weekend. All up and down I-20. I bet I saw at least 3 or 4 of those same billboards that are showing up in Metro Atlanta saying taxes or tariff is tax on your gas. It'll rotate. Tariff's tax on your eggs and your groceries. It'll rotate and whatever the other, categories that they list. But it's not just, I thought it was just going to be in the big cities. I knew it wasn't just Atlanta, but I didn't figure it would be out I-20, and it was.
They need to make this very simple.
Paid for by the Canadian government, by the way.
Tariffs will crush us. Signed, Canada.
That's what it should read.
That's all it is.
That's right. They know it because what it's 70+% of their economy is
comes through us.
Yeah, that's right. So yes, they're terrified of this, and they want you to believe.
Well, they should back down.
Yeah, maybe that would be a good plan, but I don't know that they're smart enough to do that.
What they should do,
brave enough.
They should grab them ankles and just be like, "What do you need us to do for you?"
That's right.
The snow Mexicans need to capitulate. The real Mexicans already did.
That's right.
Trump putting the tariff in terrifying.
That's right. Look at you, Trey. It's 7:06, and you're already knocking it out of the park. I love it. And you flip on MSNBC, which we have on this morning. Republican town halls draw boos and jeers across the country. No, they draw people who've been paid to get there, and you can listen to their talking points and know where they come from. It's been proven over and over and over again. All the Tesla takeovers. All funded. We've got the list of organizations that fund them if you need to. And then there was the video of this weekend. I don't know if you saw it. Like the clock struck noon.
Yes.
And their pay stopped at noon. And guess what?
They're gone.
They rolled up their signs and headed on out.
If there was not a clear picture of what is going on, these people aren't looking for overtime, and they're certainly not looking to put in anything extra to the fight.
No.
What are we paid for? Till
right.
noon. All right, pack it up, everybody.
Just like if you go to a construction site, right? Or if you come to whatever your job is, right? If you get paid till 5, are you going to stay to 9? No, you're going to leave at 5. Just like those people left when their pay ran out. When their time was up, they rolled out, just like you and I would do too.
Yes.
It's exactly the same.
It's a job.
It's exactly right. They get paid to do it. So we've talked about this a whole bunch. Just the lies that the media shares and the Biden administration would spread and they would leak to their counterparts in the media. I want you to hear from independent journalist Laura Logan. She was on the air specifically talking about Ukraine and Russia. But it was fascinating to hear what she had to say because she dropped truth bombs that were reverberating throughout that newsroom. These people didn't know which way was up. Their faces were impressive in the fact that they couldn't believe what she was saying. Their jaws were on the table because she was willing to tell the truth. She was willing to say what needed to be said. Listen to this.
This has not gone as well as Vladimir Putin expected.
I don't buy it for a second, and I'll be honest with you. I really think that there's so much misinformation. We've never really seen anything like it. The Russian military isn't perfect, but Russia is not struggling. It's hard to believe anything that our leaders tell us because they've lied about COVID, they lied about Russia collusion, they lied about the Ukraine impeachment trial. You see dishonesty when it comes to the Azov Battalion. The Azov Battalion has been murdering its way through eastern Ukraine. I mean, you can find pictures of them online holding up the NATO flag and the swastika, and at the same time, this is why Crimea wanted to be with Russia. Because Western Ukraine backed the Nazis. The CIA actually gave immunity for prosecution to the Nazis of Ukraine from the Nuremberg trials. These are the actual Nazis from the Second World War. When you know that the CIA sponsored the Color Revolution in Ukraine in 2013 and 14. This is as much interference here as you could possibly imagine before you even get to Hunter Biden, Nancy Pelosi, John Kerry, and Mitt Romney, and all of their children who are employed, who earn millions from Ukrainian gas companies. Zelensky was selected, like so many of our leaders, with big tech and with election fraud these days. We don't know how many leaders all around the world have been selected for us. Putin has been warning for 15 years that he is not going to stand by while the globalists take over the world, build bioweapons facilities. Ukraine has been a center of money laundering for many of the leaders in this country.
Dropping bombs. Just absolute bombs. And you heard the people, it was a European, wherever they were in Europe.
He's like, Laura, you're saying way too many truths.
They tried to, and she just barreled over them like they weren't there. But nothing she said was wrong.
No.
They can't argue that part.
Everything she said was factually correct.
They could try to stop her, but they weren't going to.
Now, she starts getting into, these crime families, these crime syndicates, and what they were involved in. And that part is where she's alleging what has gone on, even though we've seen, in terms of congressional investigations, millions of dollars passing through Ukraine into the hands of the Biden family. We've been able to track that down and to say these amount of shell companies. Now, will it go anywhere? No. But the big picture is, for as much as you were always sold, the Ukrainians are the good guys, the Russians are the bad guys.
That's right.
I would say it's a pair of bad actors that are acting in their best interest. We just happen to pick the remnants of Nazism to side with them.
Ugh, yuck.
Yeah, and again, the Biden administration was just following what the Obama administration had previously done in 2013 and 2014.
Because Biden wasn't capable of making any decisions. We know that. He wasn't operational only between 4 and 10, and then anything outside of that, there was just no hope for him. He wasn't going to be able to do anything. That they only put him out there as the puppet during those hours. That's what he did. So you're right. Everything came through the decision makers, probably led by Barack Obama. I just love the fact that she is not afraid to say what needs to be said. She's not afraid to tell people the truth. That is the most encouraging thing, because it doesn't matter what those people in the media thought. It matters what you know and what I know, that there is no good guys in Russia and Ukraine. None.
Laura Logan got it's an awful scenario when you had the Arab Spring and she was sent there to report on it. And it was hey, all these people just won freedom, go show up. And she found herself in a situation where you were sold, hey, these are just a bunch of nice people that won freedom. Turns out, no.
At all.
Turns out she was raped. Okay? So the woman had her eyes opened up to how the world really works. And so ever since then, once she started getting back into the media and getting back into the limelight and getting back into the spotlight, that woman pulls zero punches.
Yeah.
She went from 60 Minutes and going, all right, the gloves are off. Like, I'm going to tell you what's really going on in this world. And so I respect the hell out of her that she speaks very plainly and very bluntly.
And you've said it a million times. The thing that Trump and Putin have in common are that they're nationalists. They care about their country.
They're going against a globalist society.
Exactly right. And that doesn't make Putin a good dude. No one's trying to say that. But he, like Trump, cares about his own country. And for whatever ills that he's done, and there's been plenty of them, I'm not pretending he's a good dude. I'm not cheering for him necessarily. He cares about his country. He loves his country, and that's all he wants to do is stand up for his country. As far in this fight, And I'll put that there because there's plenty of crap that he's done this load. I mean, look, he's even trying to double cross Trump a little bit with the with the whole ceasefire.
Well, I talked to my youngest daughter. They've now started entering into a lot of World War II history, and obviously, as the winners, we get to teach history in the way that we want to teach it. But I started giving her an opposing view of saying, well, what if this was the scenario? What would you think if this occurred? And what we've been sold is essentially just the Ukrainian scenario. What happens when you think about
one half of the story?
You only know one half of the story. What happens when the story is, all right, the Russians are sitting there knowing that NATO's encroaching on their border, knowing they have a history of being invaded, and knowing that you have biolabs that are being all set up along their perimeter. And we just went through a global pandemic. Are you not in the interest of your own security saying, what the hell? Why would I allow this sort of stuff sitting right there in my backyard? Especially if you understand how Russia is constructed. There are large amounts of Russia that are uninhabitable. Mm-hmm. The Russians live on the Ukrainian border. Mm-hmm. They look at it as like, you're on my backyard. You are right there. So this is part of the reason why they had their aggression towards them. Doesn't mean they're right. It just means understanding that what you were sold, a bill of goods, is not exactly the case.
No, definitely not. It'd be no different. Well, let's just put it in terms of the United States. We know what was happening on our southern border. What are we doing down there? We're fixing it.
We got operations going on.
Operations going on there. It's pretty much a militarized zone. And because we knew that these awful drugs were coming across the border, killing people, we had illegal immigrants coming through and trafficking of people. I mean, it was awful. And the Biden administration was just fine with it. They even condoned it because they could have stopped it at any point. Batya Unger Sargon, she calls herself the MAGA Democrat. And the thing that she talks about, I want you to hear her speaking on Trump's agenda and why it's so popular.
A lot of people on the right struggle to understand why the Democrats keep picking on 80-20 issues, the 20, right? Yeah. And the reason is because the divide in this country is not political. It is a class divide that separates out the 20% of the over-credentialed college elites from the 70-80% of Americans who are middle and working class. Trump has unified those people around a common sense, middle-of-the-road agenda. People who don't feel that things are going in the right direction, this is the Democrats' base, the elites. What President Trump did was he realized that the entire middle class and working class of this country had been abandoned, and he turned the GOP into the party of the working class. These are people who hate the open border because it comes at their expense, of course, when you import millions and millions of low-wage laborers to compete with them. They love tariffs because tariffs make the product of the labor of the working class competitive in the global market. It's rich people who hate tariffs, and that's who the Democrats apparently are catering to.
And if you look at the bedfellows that we have in this MAGA movement, in this Trump movement, you got, because you brought it up a minute ago, the United Auto Workers. They're like, yep to tariffs. So we'll take it.
Hell yes. Keep them coming.
And who else likes it? MAGA Republicans. Unusual bedfellows. Until you tear it away and look at what she's saying. It is about a class of people. It's about working people that can get things done. And I saw Adam Carolla this weekend on his podcast talking about how the left lost dudes. Just regular working dudes. And he pointed out all the work that's going on in the Palisades and Malibu and all those places where all those horrible fires took place and took out everything, every one of them are just regular dudes. And I can't describe them the way that he did because he's on a podcast and has no FCC regulations. But he was just like, it is a regular blue-collar dude. One that don't worry about pronouns, ones that don't worry about whose feelings they're hurting, ones that just get in there, get their hands dirty, and get the job done.
What I feel that is going on in this country is that you can criticize Donald Trump for the tactics. I don't think you can criticize what the overall belief is. Does this help America? Does this help the working class? Does this help the common American? Now, we can always argue that tariffs won't do it. Oh, tariffs, I think is a terrible idea. But the intention is to help the American working class, the American working man. That's the overall goal. And so to have someone who has that as their goal, that is why you see so many of these people, as Adam Carolla puts it, regular people, regular dudes that are all about it.
Yeah,
if you're just trying to help me, awesome, cool. Because for the longest time, for the better part of 20 years, no one's tried to help me.
But when he talks about he went into just specific everyday dudes, and he was like, the left despised them. Like he was poking fun at toxic.
If you get to work at an hour that you're required to get there, you were looked at as some sort of fool by the left. If you have to clock in,
frown upon you,
or if you have a job where you have to be there, and if you get up 30 minutes early to go leave the office, you have to, you get your hands dirty, any of those things. The left looks at you as somehow you are lesser than their intellectualness.
Well, yeah, because they're smarter than you. They know more. They've been educated better. They know everything. They know it all. Let's see if they know how to build a house. Because as Adam Carolla points out, it is just everyday dudes out there building those houses. There's not intellectuals anywhere of any sex or of any persuasion. It's just working dudes, and y'all need them. And you wouldn't be building back all those homes without toxic, and is the way he described it. He was like, you wouldn't be doing it without toxic masculinity.
Yes.
They're out there telling pull my finger jokes.
Oh, yeah.
They're out there eating out of a pail on a roof somewhere.
Oh, and you know what they can't wait to do? They're going to go pick up a six-pack on the way home.
Right.
And sit there and go watch some sports in the evening.
Those filthy pigs. Filthy, no good for nothing. That's the way the left looks at them. Of course, we don't, because that's who we are. We're regular folks, too. That's why those unusual bedfellows are there. It's fascinating to see it. I love it, man. I can't get enough of it. I hope whoever keeps giving Jasmine Crocker the microphone never gets fired. Next on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3.
Attention Warriors, are you a veteran ready to navigate to success after service? Tune in to the Warrior Alliance Network. Join us as we spotlight inspiring stories, provide essential resources, and connect you with a community dedicated to empowering veterans. From career advice to health and wellness tips, the Warrior Alliance Network is your go-to hub for post-service success. Tune in Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. on Extra 106.3. Join us on the mission, the Warrior Alliance Network, where warriors thrive together. Visit us at thewarrioralliance.org for more information.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. You know, a great smile can make you more successful as well as make you happy. Yes, it's true. And your smile's waiting for you at my dentist, Dr. Dina Giesler, my friend for 30 years and dentist forever. This woman at Atlanta Smiles, atlantasmiles.com, the dentist with a doggy. It's really true, whether it's just regular cleaning or bridges or crowns or are your teeth bothering a little bit, maybe a little ache or something, or your gums it's not going to get better on its own. Take it from me, I found that out the hard way. Taking care of your teeth and gums, and everybody's happy. And by the way, you can relax with Dr. Dina. This is an individual, private VIP experience. The latest technology. She used AI to get my last thing done at my last visit. And don't forget the doggy. She's a little doggy to take a nap in your lap while you're getting your work done. And this staff, these ladies are angels, I promise you. You'll love going there. A veteran herself, Dr. Dina, 10% veterans discount off the top. Tell them when you call. 404-262-7733. Your smile's waiting. Get the doggy at atlantasmiles.com.
You've likely heard about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too, with their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. An easy, affordable way to see how it could literally change your life. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally, developed by doctors. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. Trying it couldn't be easier with their 3-week quick start for only $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call. 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Wherever you're having pain, every day you feel better is a day you live better. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start today. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
It's March 31st, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. It's National Crayon Day. For kids and adults alike, take some time to find a box of crayons, a pad of blank paper, and let your imaginations just go. Edwin Binney, along with his cousin, founded the art supply company Crayola in 1885 and have been fueling creativity ever since. Blue remains the most popular crayon, followed by red, violet, and green. Also on this date, in 1889, the Eiffel Tower officially opens as part of the Paris Exposition. Gustave Eiffel's creation would hold the distinction of being the tallest man-made structure in the world for more than 4 decades. And in 1985...
I cannot hear myself even think.
Hulk Hogan and Mr. T beat the team of Rowdy Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff in the main event match of the first WrestleMania at Madison Square Garden in New York City. I'm Tushar Saxena, and that's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
The Dean's List with Janice Dean.
A hero bus driver from Cleveland Heights, Ohio, makes the Dean's List for rescuing students from a fire. The blaze came out of nowhere from one of the rear wheels, and the driver of the bus acted quickly, making sure all 15 kids were escorted off the vehicle, while another driver stepped in to grab the kids and get them to school on time. The superintendent of the area expressed her relief and praised the driver and the students for their reaction to the scary incident, which could have been a whole lot worse, but thanks to evacuation drills and the kids knowing exactly what to do made all the difference. The driver wished to be anonymous, but the whole town expressed their thanks to everyone involved to make sure the students were cared for during and after the incident.
I want to say that we have to be proactive with prayer, because I believe that's the reason why nobody was harmed in this situation.
Well done, everyone. You all made today's Dean's List. Janice Dean, Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your headlines for Monday, March 31st. Cobb County servers are back online after a week of interference. Officials say unusual activity was detected and an unauthorized user gained access. Portions of the system were taken offline to evaluate security. Officials have not said if sensitive data was breached. Georgia shattered a previous record for pollen count over the weekend. On Saturday, the pollen count reached over 14,000. The previous record was 9,300. The Georgia legislative session is approaching its end this week. Georgia lawmakers voted down a measure for their own pay increase. This includes Governor Kemp. Today's weather storms moving through the metro area, producing damaging winds and rain. There is a small chance of hail and even a tornado. Temperatures today reach the high 60s. It'll dry out this evening, and we may see record high temperatures later this week. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
Man, Banana Ball was huge here at Truist Park. I mean, this place was sold slap out. Those were the hardest tickets to come by that I've seen in a long time. People just emailing and texting and calling the stations. Los, I'm sure you had a call or a text or two about it. I know I had 2 or 3. But it looked like the most fun. I still, to this point, have never seen the Savannah Bananas and want to. At some way, I hope to get to see them.
It's I would point it out this way. It's fun if you're into baseball. It's great for the kids. I only need to see it once, maybe twice.
Yeah, sure, I get it. Yeah.
But my favorite part is the dancing umpire. The home plate umpire. Right. That dude has to probably drop like 20 pounds every single night.
Yeah, just because he's
sweating and in the gear and getting after it.
Dude, that's so good.
I like the first base umpire. He'll do a backflip to call somebody out.
Yep.
No,
yeah.
I've not seen that.
There's so many of those guys on that team and just that organization that can just standing backflips all day.
They're incredibly talented, no doubt about it. It's like wrestling a little bit, right?
Well, okay, so one of the things to remember, what they do is between the Savannah Bananas and the Party Animals, is that you will see pitchers throw for each side depending on who's throwing that night and part of the show. And so the guys that are out there throwing, they're throwing like 90-91.
Yeah, they're ball players.
It's legitimate ball player. Like you go, okay, that's pretty impressive what they can do. But then they build all the gimmicky fun stuff around it.
Sure.
And again, it's a good time.
Like I saw him on stilts.
I saw him in Gwinnett last year, and we had a great time doing it. So no surprise that they're selling out over at Truist or even in Boston last summer when they sold out.
Oh, my gosh. But they're doing football stadiums now.
Yeah, they did Raymond James over in Tampa.
And they're about to do Bank of America in Charlotte.
Yeah, they'll sell it out.
Freaking sell it out. It's unbelievable. I love it. I think it's fantastic because it's capitalism at its finest. You're taking something that people love anyway and making it different. I mean, it's not like going to an MLB game. Or
every inning is a game.
That's right. You win the inning, right?
So you're trying to win the inning, and that's how it constantly cycles. Where you can be down. Where in this case, like, hey, they scored 7 in that inning. Okay, they won the inning.
They won the inning.
That does not matter. Moving into the next inning,
dude, that's awesome.
Do they get extra points for the trick plays? Is that how they score that?
No, it's
I don't
just,
know enough.
Okay, so one of the things that they do, they have I'm trying to remember how the ruling works, but in Banana Ball, they have it to where you can run all around the bases, and the goal is, like, let's say, for instance, there is I think what it is, it's let's say there's like a single to the outfield.
Okay.
All right. Once it's designated that runner is going to try and run all the way from home plate to come around all the way back to home plate to score, like an inside the Parker.
Uh-huh.
It's every defensive player has to touch the baseball before they try and throw him out.
That's great.
So it's just
Dude,
wild.
I love it.
Like
I love it.
There's little things like that that go on, and you're like, okay, this is just fun, crazy baseball.
And the guy that started it is, I mean, just an absolute genius. Like, who thinks like that? You know what I mean? Like, who came up?
It's a lot of show. It's a showman.
Of course it is. But it's part showman. It's part athletic ability. That's why I say wrestling, right? Wrestling is a predetermined outcome. That part's scripted, but that does not take away from the athletic ability of the people that are in the ring that are part of the match. I mean, they're incredibly athletic. These dudes are unbelievable. So not only athletic, they're performers. They're part of a show. It's amazing. It's what it reminds me of a little bit.
By the way, just looking it up, and take it for what it's worth, it does say that the players who are taking part in this, because remember, it's a Savannah Bananas, but Party Animals, it's all one organization.
Right, of course.
That those players, and a lot of times these are either collegiate players or just out of college players. These are guys that are not going to go play pro ball anywhere. It's an $80,000 a year job.
Wow. I don't think I realized how much they were getting paid
to be part of the show.
Dude, that's not bad.
Not at all.
$80K a year to go have fun every night. Dude, it'd be amazing. I'm telling you, man. Maybe I could peel my son away from that grad coaching year at Charleston and get him to go play for the Savannah Bananas.
By the way, the Bananas had, when it came to their entertainment, they generated over $10 million in revenue in 2023.
Unreal.
Ticket sales, food and beverage,
Unreal.
and merchandise, and that's before they launched like such a massive tour.
Yeah. So I can only imagine that number is astronomical at this point. But it was just cool to see the Bananas at Truist Park. It really was. And see all the fans lined up. And I don't know what the layout is or how they move everything. Obviously, in 18-wheelers, I get that part. But they had a working party that reminded me of a Navy working party.
Yeah.
Like, we would do a working party to load stores onto...
It was like the circus came into town.
Yes. And I don't know if they work for the organization. Is it the ticketing folks that are unloading, and then later they're the ticketing folks? Is it the folks that play on the field that are helping? I mean, it looked like a team effort. I've never seen that like it since the military.
Like when
it was so impressive.
When you see those movies where they show you like the road evangelist comes into town, they put up the tent, and now they're going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah,
that's what it looked like.
Yeah, it is for sure. Navy working parties, what it reminded me of. Morning Xtra and Extra 106.3. The 7 o'clock hour is brought to you by Van Sant Law. If you're in an accident, make the right call. VanSantLaw.com. I don't know who keeps giving Jasmine Crockett the microphone, but I hope they don't stop. The things that she's saying are so Looney Tune. It's unbelievable. I mean, she can't even hide her racism. She goes after Byron Donalds for his wife being white. It's interesting that Democrats are the only ones not okay with this.
I mean, go after him for economic policy. Sure. Go after him for going after Donald Trump. There's just certain areas that if you're trying to kind of keep things in between the lines of the mainstream, that's an area where you're going to go down a road where people are going to say, oh, I can't be affiliated with that.
But why does she care who he's married to? Do you care who he's married to? I certainly don't.
What do you always hear about Justice Thomas? I mean, what do you always hear about Clarence Thomas? Yeah. Like, oh, he's married to a white woman. I never knew, didn't care.
Just doesn't even hit my radar screen. But it tells you where the mentality is for the Democrat Party. They care. That matters to them. They don't even try to hide their racism. And like I said, I just hope she keeps talking and shows everybody who she is. I want you to hear her talk about it. Listen to this.
If we continue to put people into office, and that even means some of our skinfolk who definitely are not our kinfolk, such as Byron Donalds, who are going to continue to say that, the fact that you sitting around talking about life was better under Jim Crow, is this because you don't understand history? Or literally it's because you married a white woman and so you think that whitewashed you. I'm not really sure, what it is.
Well,
but
you couldn't even be married to a white woman under Jim
Correct. Correct. And it took Joy to call him out. So I'm like, bruh, what are you talking about? I feel like they give him his talking points and he's like, yes, massa, I got it.
First off, the fact they're using Joy Reid as some sort of articulate, involved,
she knows
credible source.
Yeah.
Do you realize how much further Jasmine Crockett would go as somebody from Texas is if she didn't play this game of trying to act like she's from Dem Streets?
Yeah.
If she just said, I'm going to put forth an articulate, smart-sounding argument. We're not that far removed from the era of Barack Obama where everyone went, whoa, this guy is so sharp, he's so polished.
And he was. I disagree with it, but he was.
That he could get to the highest level of political power in the entirety of the world, and Jasmine Crockett instead wants to be down in the mud with the pigs.
I'll never understand it, but I do understand their racism. I do get that. She's making that pretty clear, and they have no problem with it. They will. I think they're showing you their true colors. The libs.
We always tell you that they put people in boxes.
Yes, they do.
She's only willing to listen to someone, again, by her own words, if they're black and what was always used. It was done by Al Sharpton. He referred to Barack Obama as not being authentically black. That he didn't know what the struggle was. She's sitting there telling Byron Donalds that he can't possibly be black because he's married to a white woman.
I don't understand the obsession with race, obsession with boxes, obsession with putting people in boxes. But she does, and she's not trying to hide it. So as long as you know where they're coming from, as long as you know where she's coming from, then you can just take it at face value. I'm going to dismiss this because it's completely absurd, and this is who they are. Don't miss who they are. When they tell you who they are, do not miss it.
I just hope they never get rid of her microphone.
That's what I said. Whoever holds that and turns it on, don't ever fire them.
It's so beneficial to us and to our side. And you might get even a little bit of Jasmine Crockett fatigue. You're like, how does she keep showing up on these places? Because everyone who's inviting her, make no mistake, this is what's going on. Everyone who's inviting her is hoping she says something that is stupid and ignorant on their show.
Yes.
So that they can glom on. You bring her there so that she'll say something where you go, man, you're dumb. But I'm glad you said it on my show because I get the clicks out of it.
She's the voice of the Democrat Party, too. I mean, they keep promoting her. Can you think of anybody else that's gotten more mic time, more screen time in the Democrat Party than her? Because I cannot. Race baiting, gutter mouth. And look, it's me that needs to clean up my own mouth. But wow. I just don't care who people are married to. And if you do, there's something clearly wrong. Tesla, these Tesla protests, we know they're bought and paid for. We've seen them clock out at noon on a few of them. We've got the list if we want to get to that. But, they were out in force this weekend.
What a great weekend for us.
Yeah, it was.
This was outstanding. And the more video that ends up being shown, and you've noticed, you've got a lot of the news outlets in terms of the MSNBCs of the world and the CNNs that don't want to show you the video of these protests. All right, here are the three factions that came together to protest against Elon Musk. Here's our deal on March 29th. I love how this was put. Old folks' homes, angry white liberal women, and sissy men.
Yes.
All right.
That's right.
I would tell you 95% of the people in the crowd old folks home.
Yep.
White, angry, liberal women, sissy men.
That's right.
And that's it. If you did not know what the coalition of the Democrat Party is, there you have it.
Now you got it.
There it was. Octogenarians, angry, crazy white women that don't shave their pits, sissy men who tell you that they're all about back the women. But I want men playing in women's sports.
Yeah, which makes no sense. The addition don't work.
Explain that one to me, sissy men. But yes, those are the three factions. The more video that is shown, the better of a weekend it was for us.
Absolutely. There's all kinds of organizations that are involved in this. There's one called Name 50501. They are anti-democratic and try to take illegal actions against the Trump administration. The Action Network Fund, Act Up New York, Climate Defenders Action Fund. You see where I'm going with all this? The Democratic Socialists of America, Democratic Party's local and state chapters. Like there's about 25 of these organizations, these progressive organizations, Move On, that are out there and funding it all. That's who subscribes to this bull crap. That's who subscribes to this nonsense that you wouldn't associate yourself with, nor would I.
All right, so I'm going to say this guy is late 50s, wildly out of shape, and he's got a choker on.
What?
Yeah, like a little necklace, like
No.
a choker. Yeah, I mean, do you know any dudes that do that?
No, I don't.
By the way, behind him is the other frumpy dude, and he's made sure he's got his mask on.
Oh, that's the symbol.
Because you always have
Gotta
to have the mask
symbol.
on.
Yes.
These people do not represent you.
Mm-mm.
These people do not represent regular Americans. Of
course not.
As Adam Carolla put it, regular dudes.
Mm-hmm. He said it in a different way. And if
C and B dudes.
That's right. If you want to know, I'll tell Jeray, and you can call 404-741-1230 and tell you.
It rhymes with chalk.
That's right. And calls.
Chalk and calls dudes. That's how he referred to him as.
That's right.
Not one chalk and calls dude are in this group. Again, it was a great weekend because we got to see the face of the silliness.
Yeah, the people that tell you better buy a Tesla or an EV to save the earth. What?
Look at that thing. It's got this blue hair and it says, oh my God.
Dude, unbelievable. These people are unbelievable.
And as we pass by the dude in the mask.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the uniform. They all have the uniform on. And some protests had 11 people. Some had 22. Handful of them out there got paid well. Had more. Lowe's has an idea about how we in the private sector can compete against those new entrants into the workforce. Next on the Morning Xtra on Xtra 106.3, 404-741-1230.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Monday, March 31st. The Final Four is now set. All 4 1 seeds have reached San Antonio. Auburn, Duke, Florida, and Houston will match up beginning next Saturday night. The Braves are now 0-4 to start the season as they were swept in San Diego. The team moves on to LA to face the Dodgers in a 3-game series beginning tonight. Grant Holmes will be on the mound for the Braves against Tyler Glasnow. First pitch is set for 10:10. You can hear that game on our sister station's brand new app, 680 The Fan. And from the NFL, the tush push play, made famous by the Philadelphia Eagles and the Buffalo Bills, has support within the competition committee to ban the play. The Green Bay Packers proposed banning that play last week. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Shooting drills. A coach who knows the game can teach their team how to improve. But one who genuinely cares about each player,
you have what it takes. We got this.
Can inspire them to win. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking. Because when you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Start feeling unstoppable. Visit truist.com/care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
Springtime is here. Looking for a fun weekend with family, friends, and the kids? The Mitsubishi Electric Classic, presented by Vinsure, Georgia's only PGA Tour Champions event, returns to Metro Atlanta April 25th through the 27th. Pick your favorite hole to watch along the ropes or find public seating throughout the course. Enjoy scenic views, specialty cocktails, and fun for the whole family. Children 15 and under receive complimentary tickets with purchase by an adult. Join the excitement at TPC Sugarloaf in Duluth, Georgia from April 25th through the 27th. Tickets are available at MitsubishiElectricClassic.com/tickets.
I'm Chad Pergram with the Speaker's Lobby. The first black Republican woman to serve in the House has died. Former Utah Republican Representative Mia Love suffered from brain cancer. Doctors diagnosed Love with cancer in 2022. She recently published a farewell message in the Salt Lake City-based Deseret News. She also said that the cancer was no longer responding to the treatment. Love is a mother of 3. She first emerged nationally at the Republican National Convention in 2012. That's where former Utah Senator Mitt Romney won the party's nomination for president. She also ran for Congress that year, narrowly losing to Democratic Representative Jim Matheson. When Matheson retired 2 years later, Love won the race. Love then lost to former Democratic Utah Representative Ben McAdams in 2018. In her farewell message, Love said, quote, "Some have forgotten the math of America. Whenever you divide, you diminish." Adding, quote, "The goodness and greatness of our country is multiplied when neighbors help neighbors." Mia Love was 49 years old. With the Speaker's Lobby, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
Fox on Tech. Boeing's Starliner is not out of the space race. The legacy aerospace company took a lot of heat last summer when its passenger capsule, the CST-100 Starliner's long overdue test flight, proved to be shaky at best. Problems with thrusters and other things prompted NASA to not risk the safety of astronauts Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore and left them at the International Space Station for months until they had room in a SpaceX flight to come home this month. But the space agency now says it is moving towards certifying the Boeing Starliner for safe spaceflight and maybe have it enter service later this year or early next. Both Boeing and SpaceX have contracts for commercial crew transportation with NASA. SpaceX has been flying since 2020. Boeing's delays and overruns have cost the company billions of dollars. NASA has already paid for 3 operational flights of the Starliner. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
I'm Gianna Gelosi with your Fox True Crime Minute. A 45-year-old cold case cracked. On March 3rd, 1979, the body of 31-year-old Catherine Donahue was found in a parking lot in Glenarden, Maryland, about 17 miles from her hometown of Arlington, Virginia. The FBI says she was beaten, raped, and killed in a brutal murder. Back then, police were unable to zero in on a suspect, and the case went unsolved for decades, with Donahue's family waiting for answers. DNA was left on her body, and last year, police say they were able to find a relative of the suspect using genetic genealogy. The investigation led them to Roger Zodas Brown, who lived in Prince George's County at the time of the murder. Brown is now 82 years old and was arrested last week at his home in North Carolina. Police say he was solemn and cold and showed no reaction when he was arrested. They also say there's no known connection between Brown and Donahue. Brown was charged with first-degree murder, rape, and other charges and is awaiting extradition to Maryland. There's more on the story at foxnews.com or subscribe to the Fox True Crime Podcast. I'm Gianna Gelosi with your Fox True Crime Minute.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. With daily commentary you'll hear throughout the day. And he's on live with the Morning Xtra every Tuesday morning at 7:30. Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3. And catch all of Neil's commentary on the Extra app.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra. 404-741-1230. I can't remember if I told you 7 o'clock hour was brought to you by Van Sant Law Group. If you're in an accident, make the right call, vansantlaw.com. If I didn't, there you go, second hit for those guys. We appreciate them supporting Extra 106.3 in the Morning Extra. There's so many people that are coming into the marketplace, and it's because the federal government's cutting people left and right. Now, will they be able to, succeed in the private marketplace? I mean, maybe some of them will. I don't believe that all of them will. But Los, you have a plan, an idea on how to compete against these folks?
Well, no, I'm so concerned because what are we going to do now that the federal government has turned loose so many amazingly talented captains of industry who have been just doing amazing work, and now they have to compete against little old peons like you and I, Jerry? Like, what are we going to do when NPR shutters all of their talent and they come for our jobs?
I gotcha.
I mean, this is going to be so bad. And I imagine that everyone in the private sector must be so concerned about what the government employee, the career government employee, is going to do when they actually have to show up to work.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I'm terrified. I don't know about you, but I'm horrified of the prospects of somebody from NPR coming over and having to make a living on their own.
I mean, USAID, like, it's now completely done. Like, it's shuttered completely. You have the Department of Education that's cutting most all of its workforce. You even have Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who pointed out, we're going to be shuttering about half these jobs out of here, as we should, because these are redundant. They don't make sense. This is not working out well.
They don't do anything. They don't show up to work.
They don't show up to work anyway.
And just think about that one little piece.
They don't do anything and they don't show up to work.
Think about that at your own office. You listening right now. What would happen if someone didn't do what they were paid to do or didn't show up to work ever? Do you think they would be employed at your office very long? If you're a boss, would you allow that in your office very long? The answer would be no, but they expect you to pay for it when it comes to the federal government, and you're the bad guy for saying no.
And now you can imagine how these people feel like they're out in the woods, like these dangerous places. There's a lot of wolves around. And them wolves are me. Them wolves are you. It's like, let's see what you can do. Let's see if you can compete in this arena where if you can show up and do the job and be creative, you're in a pretty good place. When you're in government, again,
there is no standard.
I've told this story before. The only person that my father-in-law, who spent 35 years working as a logistician for the U.S. Army, said the only person he ever saw that got fired was because they found big lady porn on his government-issued laptop. Outside of that, it was you either left or you retired, you took your pension, you did what you're going to do. He was like, I know one person who was fired.
Yeah, it's a guaranteed job. My brother-in-law, as I've told you, my brother-in-law, when he got out of the Air Force,
he's like, can't handle this over the post office.
He went to the post office, went to the Army Corps of Engineers. You know, he loved it. He wanted, that was the job that he fell in love with, working up at Lake Lanier, taking care of the parks, taking care of people at the parks.
Putting the water back in the lake.
Yes, when it needed to. Yeah, just get your water hose.
Sat there with the hose.
Turn that thing on, fill it back up, everything. Yeah, he'd take care of it.
Government job.
That's right. But it was some of the same, he ran into some of the same issues, and then he just finally got done and went to work in the private industry and has been happy just as he could be doing what he's doing now. But he wanted to love the Corps and he wanted to love the post office, but he couldn't for the same things that your father-in-law was talking about. The fact that people get there and they don't do anything and there's no accountability. And he came from the Air Force, which had major accountability because they had to. They were working with nuclear weapon codes and, satellites and missiles and missile launches out at Vandenberg. I mean, they had money on their hands. They had lives in their hands.
Every nut and bolt could be somebody's life.
That's exactly right. So when you get out, knowing what a high standard that those guys lived under, and they go to the post office and there's no standard whatsoever, and that doesn't mean everybody working at the post office is bad. I'm not trying to say that. But the bureaucracy has created an environment where I bet if there's people listening right now knows the type of people I'm talking about.
Growing up, it was regular to talk about how if you work in the private sector, you'll make more money, but you don't have the security that you get from the government. In the government, you'll make less money, but you'll have more security than if you're working in the private sector, and that there will be caps on what you're going to make as long as you're working for the government. That's what's changed. That's what's flipped on its ear, where you have government employees that are well above the median average of what is going on in this country. And you go, well, what do you do for a living? Oh, man, you just asked a really complicated question.
That's right.
Well, when do you go to work? Well, it's kind of a gray area.
If I walk out in our sales office and I ask those guys what they do for a living, they can tell me detailed down to the second, almost the entirety of their day, every day.
Who's your top client?
Yep.
Boom. They're going to name and they're going to know every single person. They're going to tell you what the revenue is. They're going to tell you what they spend. They're going to tell all. What is it that you do, government employee? Well, that's a loaded question.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot.
Think about this, because we're now like just several weeks away from Elon Musk having an email that went out that said, tell us 5 things that you accomplished this week. And people freaked out.
And it was more about And to his own...
Fog the mirror.
It was just, show me you're alive. Show me you're a real person, that we're not sending a check to an empty bank account that doesn't belong to anybody. Kind of the same way with Social Security, which they've found so many people that are on Social Security that don't even exist.
We're 120 years old.
Yeah, yeah. This is unbelievable.
Whoa.
Just fog the mirror.
Fog the mirror. Show me you're alive.
That's a pretty low bar, Los.
That's the government bar.
When those people come into the workforce, and some of them will be just fine. There'll be a handful of them that be just fine. But the majority, especially if they've been there a long time, have been trained. There's no accountability.
I can't wait for one of them to roll through these doors just so we can get a look at what it looks like when you've been neutered.
Well, we saw them at Tesla protests.
Well, you just see what happens when people have been... it's like Brooks. Like, do you remember Shawshank Redemption when Brooks got to the outside? Mm-hmm. Brooks didn't last very long on the outside because Brooks was institutionalized.
Yeah.
When you've been institutionalized by government, are you able to shake that off, get in the private sector, and actually start working? Or are you going to be looking at your boss sideways because he said it's a 9 a.m. meeting and I need you here at 8:55?
Or quarter till. Like, my son, I always tell him, dude, get to wherever you're going 15 minutes early. Always.
It was always part of our culture when I played college baseball. If you're 5 minutes early, you're 10 minutes late.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, okay, I'll be there at
15 minutes early.
9 o'clock, I'll be there at 8:45.
Yeah, it's just standard. I mean, that's the way it was in the military. I mean, when we got there, man, if you were busy ironing your shirt before muster, 5 minutes before muster, everybody else is up there lined up waiting and ready. You better be too, because you're the knucklehead. You're the one that's going to be, you're that guy. You're that guy that can't get here when he needs to be here.
I'm just saying,
nobody wants to be that.
I just want to see one or two of those, that guy.
Yeah. Well,
roll into this building and say, well, I've been at NPR for the past 25 years, 20 years.
I don't suspect you'll ever see it. I think some of the bigger public companies, the iHearts, the Odysseys, you may see some of them wander over there because lesser standard. Because they're huge corporations. Like in this building, there's a pretty good standard.
You better have a hustle.
Yeah, people expected to hustle around here. We're the only independently owned broadcast company in Atlanta, which seems absurd to say out loud. But you can, in some of those places, you can skate because their corporations are so big, you can burrow in and not get caught. Now, if a bunch of people are doing it, they'll fix the little red wagon. But there's a handful of those people that can burrow in those big corporations and not get caught.
We're 14 years in. I can think of 2 people at this entire company where I went. That dude has a big bag of nothing.
Yeah.
14 years, I'm like, I know what everybody else does and what they bring to the table.
Exactly. And it doesn't take long to figure it out either.
No.
You can see it. You and me know the left is no fun. But a leftist at the New York Times has noticed too? Who would have thought? I didn't think they called out their own. There's been a couple articles calling out people lately. I got to admit, I'll give them credit. I didn't expect them to do it, but I'm glad that they have. That's the discussion next. We got you a Neil Bortz report and a Fox News update, then more of the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3.
For the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
How many of you ever asked a father or a grandfather, what did you do in the war, Daddy? Grandpa, fast forward, liberal household, maybe 15, 20 years from now. What did you do to stop Donald Trump, Grandpa? What did you do when big government was being attacked? What did you do when merit started to win out over racial identities? What did you do, Daddy, to keep men out of women's sports? What did you do, Grandpa, when women started demanding to be called men and vice versa? What happened to public schools, Grandpa? Now people are homeschooled and they go to private schools and charter schools. What did you do to save public schools? Hey, Daddy, what did you do when people started rewarding success instead of failure? What did you do to stop them from handing out participation trophies? Grandpa, what did you do when they started keeping rapists and other criminals in jail and not just letting them run free? That's so cruel, Grandpa, to keep them in jail, you know. And Daddy, what did you do when they shut down our borders and didn't let just anybody that wanted to be here come across? And what did you do, Grandpa, to save that $1 trillion in government spending that Donald Trump and his crony Elon Musk eliminated? What's your answer? Well, son, well, trans daughter, here's what I did. I got a rock and I scratched Teslas, and I blocked their charging stations. So if you had a Tesla, you couldn't charge it up. That's how bravely your daddy and your grandpa fought the war against individuality, fiscal responsibility, and merit. All we needed was a rock or a car key. You can thank us later. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
If you're the decision maker at your company, we have great news for you, for your HR department, and for your employees. A new and future-forward way to do health benefits is here from Thatch. Not only do your employees get better health benefits with Thatch, but you save an average of $1,620 per employee per year. That's right. You can save over $1,600 per employee per year. Plus, Thatch reduces the time your HR department spends administering benefits. Businesses all over the country love Thatch's breakthrough approach. Rather than a wasteful one-size-fits-all plan, Thatch empowers your employees by letting them customize their own benefits plans. And you save money and time while providing your employees with better health benefits, which works better for everyone. Book a demo with Thatch and we'll send you a $100 gift card. Visit thatch.ai/radio to book a demo for your gift card. That's THATCH.ai/radio. Thatch.ai/radio.
This is Tom with the Honest Car Guy.
Hey, what's with all this honesty stuff?
We help you buy your next pre-owned car or truck honestly.
How honestly?
We guarantee that each vehicle we sell will come with a bill of sale showing what we paid for the vehicle. You'll pay what we pay, plus our disclosed fee guaranteed.
No gimmicks or tricks?
Nope.
Man, this sounds like a new way to buy a car.
Get an honest car buy from the Honest Car Guy. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME-1 or visit honestcarguy.com.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
Why does he call this Wednesday Liberation Day? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Because President Trump says reciprocal tariffs that'll go into effect will target all countries that charged for American exports.
They ripped us off like no country's ever been ripped off in history. And we're going to be much nicer than they were to us, but it's substantial money for the country.
The president also suggested he could single out Iran for more tariffs over its nuclear program and perhaps Russia as he keeps trying to end the war in Ukraine. The president on Air Force One last night flying back to Washington also again talked about possibly running again.
I have had more people ask me to have a third term, which is in a way a fourth term because the other election, the 2020 election was totally rigged.
Well, the Constitution only allows 2 terms, but the president told NBC over the weekend there are methods to allow it. This is the last day to campaign in Florida before 2 special House elections.
To make people understand that the Trump agenda is on the line.
Randy Fine is the Republican in what polls show is a close race to fill the seat vacated by National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. Democrats also trying to flip the seat vacated by ex-Congressman Matt Gaetz. Elon Musk, who's leading the Trump Doge effort to slash federal spending, campaigned last night in Wisconsin wearing a cheesehead hat and giving away a few $1 million to people who signed a petition to get rid of activist judges as Musk campaigns for a Republican Supreme Court candidate, Brad Schimmel.
Just if the people that voted for President Trump simply vote on Tuesday, we will win. That's actually all it takes. Just vote. Boom. Done. Victory.
The high-stakes Supreme Court race is smashing spending records with more than $80 million spent so far and mega donors supporting both candidates. Elon Musk and his America PAC have spent more than $12 million in Wisconsin.
That's Fox's Brooke Singman. 4 Americans remain missing in Lithuania. The Army vehicle they were in during training has been pulled out of a swamp where it sank last Tuesday, but still no sign of the soldiers. America's listening to Fox News.
You've likely heard about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too, with their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. An easy, affordable way to see how it could literally change your life. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily. It helps reduce or eliminate pain. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. Trying it couldn't be easier with their 3-week quick start for only $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call. 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Wherever you're having pain, every day you feel better is a day you live better. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start today. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Coffee, keys, and extra 106.3. That's how I get to work and home.
Tug and Los on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Los got to do something I think that most people like to do.
That's what happened.
Just not set an alarm.
I was in a hotel room and my wife, "You gonna set an alarm?" I'm like, no. No need to. And sure enough, like 5:15 in the morning, pop up like I was a karate master. I was like, ha!
Rise up out of the...
What do we got to do? She's like, you can go back to bed we got like an hour to kill.
Yeah.
I can't.
I can't sleep. Getting up this early morning, I just can't help it. My body is just trained. It's just trained to do what it's doing. Los and his family.
It was like a magic show.
Yeah, the daughters had volleyball down at World Congress Center.
Big South, big tournament. Huge tournament.
Yeah, like you said, like 10,000 players.
Within last week and this week, no problem.
Still, I mean, that's it's an unbelievable number. Goodness gracious, man. It's crazy. And they played really well, which is awesome. Anytime you see kids doing well, man, I'm behind that. That's why I love sports so much, I think. Because I know what they meant to me, and I wasn't even good at all. But it was just part of being, just being part of a team meant something. And I think it does mean something. And it's memories that you'll have forever, and memories that that transcend any trouble you have. You always have something positive to look back on.
Well, the 10-year-olds were in an 11-year-old division.
Yeah.
And so we knew it was going to be difficult.
Yeah.
And they almost got to the gold bracket, which would have been really cool. But still, then they went out and they played really well on Friday and Saturday. And so we were very proud of them. Our older team had one hiccup day one. And we're like, oh no, we're in trouble. Then they proceeded to not lose a match the whole rest of the time.
That's great.
So they ended up finishing 6-2, and it was really impressive because for us, as much as you want to qualify there because it's a national qualifier, we were playing in a division above our own. We didn't believe we were going to qualify. We probably might have had a chance at it, but it would have been really difficult. Whereas our next qualifier, we play within our own division. We expect to do some damage there.
Wipe the floor. But I think that's so important is playing up. Like some coaches, so I'll never understand, put put kids in a division that's not as good as them. So I guess they go in and win a $4. Yeah, exactly. You get a $4 trophy that you'll never look at again. It won't matter. You play up. That's when kids get better. That's iron sharpening iron. That's the whole point. I'd rather lose in a tournament that I wasn't supposed to even be competitive in than go in and wax the floor with some teams that I'm better in. Give me that every day of the week.
Because within our club, you play your corresponding division. And so our one's team plays the top division, two's plays the next one, threes, and so on. That's the way we have it set up so that we have representation across every division. It's really frustrating when you see a large club and they won't play top division.
Yeah, it's insane. It's
just so
and
frustrating.
It happens in every sport.
They call them sandbaggers.
Yeah, that's right. Every parent that has had kids in athletics or grandkids even in athletics, you know the teams that we're talking about. It happens across the board. It's crazy. We came back from South Carolina. It was a big day. It was so much fun, seeing the kids. Because they'd been scuffling a little bit midway through the season, and in the last day, they're on an 8-game winning streak. Team just has turned it around, playing fire. This coming weekend, they play a top 15 team in the country, so they'll be tested pretty good. But 8-game winning streak and to get 3 games above 500 is a good step in the right direction.
I met this one gentleman while we were in line at the bar because that bar is very, very active at the Georgia World Congress Center. And it turned out he had played some JUCO baseball in Texas. And our discussion was about how when you go to the junior college level, there's such a mixed bag of talent. Right. But what it also includes are people that didn't like their draft status when they were high school seniors. So I got picked in the 15th round. Well, I think I should go higher than that. Well, they don't commit to a 4-year university because then they're tied in for 3 years. So they go to junior college. That's right. So you have freaking stud players that are there and like stud pitching. You see some stuff there where, let's face it, if you were drafted in the 30th round, you might decide I'm going to go to the University of Georgia. The guy who got drafted in the 20th round, who's even better, decides, I'm not going to Georgia. I'm going to go play JUCO for a year, and I'm going to get picked in the top 5.
That's exactly right. Let me give you an example. There's a kid that was playing, and he's a little bit undersized, but I mean a ball player. Listen to these stats. In 8 games, his name is Hudson Moss. 19 for 26, 2 doubles, a triple, and 3 home runs, 16 RBI, 15 runs scored, home run in each game of the series sweep this weekend. Hit an RBI in all 8 games, multi-hit, 6 RBIs. Dude, this kid is up for JUCO Player of the Week nationally, the National Player of the Year.
When he hits the ball, does he go, Hudson?
Like Hudson Mason? No.
When he touches first base, does he go, Hudson?
No, but he should. He definitely should.
Touches home plate, Hudson!
I've just never seen anything like this. Those numbers are they just jump off the charts.
When he strikes out, does he go, Hudson?
He's not. I don't think he's struck out one time in this 8-game run. In the 8-game win streak that they're on, those numbers are unbeatable.
Poor former Georgia quarterback Hudson Mason when we equated him to Hodor from Game of Thrones.
I was going to ask. I was trying to pick up on that.
That's all. What if Hudson could only say his name in order to articulate what he was feeling? And that was it. What if that was it? Where it was just like, are you excited, Hudson? Hudson!
Yeah, we're like, how was lunch today? Hudson!
Hudson!
Yeah. What about a walk-off?
Hudson!
You got in a fight with your wife?
Hudson. And yeah, by the time that he then understood all the comedy of this, when he saw Hodor, then he was a little disappointed in us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he didn't understand that we were just having fun at his expense. That's all.
We were just having fun at his expense. It's totally fine.
He was the quarterback at University of Georgia. You don't think people talk bad about him? I mean, people say the ugliest things.
He lost to Tech. At that point, Hudson is going to... that one's a tough one for Hudson.
He said one time, he told me a story about these people that were sitting behind his mama and daddy at the game in Athens. And they were just talking about him like he was a dog. And his mama apparently bit her lip and didn't, but she told him later. She was like, I was ready to kill them, And she didn't. But
she didn't.
Yeah. But dude, that takes incredible restraint if somebody's talking about your kid behind you.
Yeah, that's tough.
As your kid's doing the best it can at playing at the University of Georgia, super high level. I mean, it's not like the competition.
My wife yelled at some other parents at a volleyball match a couple weeks ago because she just couldn't keep quiet.
That's exactly right, man. So it happens. But look, that's the thing, though,
She's
with
classy
us.
like that.
Yeah, I know she is. But with her, though, I mean, we know how to have fun. I believe we're in a good place. We know how to have fun. We know how to do it right. But the Democrats do not. They do not know how to have fun. And they've finally been called out for it. Maureen Dowd, of all people. I would have never guessed Maureen Dowd, who is a lefty loony from the New York Times. She's kind of starting to get it and realizes that the woke left is, they're on their way out the door. And she's not down with it. The American people are not down with it.
They just stopped being any fun. I mean, they made everyone feel that everything they said and did and every word was wrong. And people don't want to live like that, feeling that everything they do is wrong.
No. You think we're over that era? Do you think that?
No. I think,
right.
I mean, I think Democrats are just in a coma. They haven't figured out.
Right.
Yeah. They're in a coma. They just figured it out. They're just not fun. You're right. Anything you say around a Democrat is the worst thing in the world, and you're the worst, and you're irredeemable. There's nothing good about you. If you say something that goes against their political persuasion, if you say anything that goes against what they believe, you're automatically a horrible name, racist, Nazi, fascist, whatever. You know them all. And none of that's true. Just because you disagree with somebody politically, and yet she's picking up on it. Will she change, the way she writes? Probably not. But at least she's noticing.
Like, we're having a blast right now.
Dude, ride the wave.
Everything is so much fun.
Ride the wave.
And every single week, there's another victory. Every single day, there's another victory, and we're having a great time. I think about what the other side, their version of fun was. Dude with breasts on the White House lawn?
Yeah, that's not fun.
Cocaine in the White House?
Not fun.
Drag brunches?
Porn in the Senate?
Like, that was fun, right? Like, that was the version.
Adults. That's what they told me.
I think Maureen Dowd actually is really getting the hold of this. Like, we're not fun anymore.
But we talk about this all the time.
They're a coalition of the miserable.
Thing about my Aunt Peg, who is a very sweet woman, and give you the shirt off her back, but she is always looking for something to be angry about.
Can we start with like an abbreviation?
What do you mean?
Like, from now on, before you start talking about, the things that are wrong with Aunt Peg, you always start with the preamble of my Aunt Peg, sweetest woman ever.
You don't want me to do that anymore?
No, what I'm just saying is that you just say, like, my Aunt Peg, swim for sweetest woman ever.
Oh, I got you. That way it doesn't take too long.
Hey, you say, my Aunt Peg, swim, and then you go from there. So that it's been established that you can then go about whatever you want to do.
I just want people to understand who she is, because I'm not sure I understand who she is.
Sweetest woman ever made.
Yeah.
My Aunt Peg, swim. She's crazy.
Yeah, right. But then people won't understand.
She's looking to be mad all the time.
But it's the truth, and Democrats and liberals by nature are looking for something to be angry about. We have a coworker that we all like a whole lot, always angry, always looking for something to be mad about. It is just so tiring. Stop being so angry. Why is everything always bad? Why can't you find the silver lining about anything? And that's the way they are. Think about those people at the Tesla, protests.
The Tesla protests.
Yeah. Find me one person out there that has any joy in their life. Any joy.
You don't think they're having a good time?
No.
No,
I think they're angry and pissed and bite through nails. I think they would cut you if you came by and said anything.
I'm trying to think of, have I ever been to a protest, and the answer is no.
I haven't either.
And I wouldn't look at it as being fun. I would look at it as being necessary. However, they were looking at it as, here's my job, and I'm at a place where I got to take this $40 to be here for a few hours.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, I did see a lot of video of this weekend, and there was one of a guy sitting in a Cybertruck, just sitting there smiling and laughing as the whole crowd was just
giving it to him.
Yeah.
I just have no time for that. Have you ever wanted to yell at somebody because of an automobile they drove? I never have.
No.
Like, even when Tesla was still the cool thing for the left, it's saving the earth, if you believe that marketing, the green energy marketing thing, which we know is, nothing more than marketing. But there was never a point that I was like, I can't wait to go up and flip these people the bird. I can't wait to go up and scream in their face about what they're driving because they've bought into this marketing gimmick that green energy is real. But I've never had the desire to do that.
I've only ever thought about one thing when it came to Teslas. Outside of their fun.
Yeah.
I would go, man, I hope that doesn't catch fire in the garage.
No kidding, because the fire department told us it takes twice as long to put them out. Batteries burn at like 4,000 degrees.
Because I've got neighbors, like my next door neighbor and my across the street neighbor. I'm like, I don't need you burning my house down because your house caught fire with your Tesla.
Well, you've seen it even. Let's reduce it down from Tesla. Talk about those little scooters, the batteries that just occasionally will set themselves on fire. We've seen it in New York. We've seen it everywhere. There's that little bit of me because my son has one for college that makes me nervous about it being in his apartment.
Do you want what true leftist anger sounds like these days?
I'm afraid to hear it, Los. I'm afraid to hear it.
All right, so this is Charlie Kirk. Now, he's doing the whole in the round segment where you sit down, you have a liberal come in, and they say what they're going to say.
Is this the sweet young lady?
I would say young ladies for sure. Young lady is certain. As a woman decides she's going to sit there and have a debate with Charlie Kirk. Now, Charlie Kirk, what he does really well is he takes your information and then asks you questions based off of that. All right, take a listen as this woman is going to insist that the basis for all of her belief system is based on a 5-year-old.
No, I'm speaking. 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 No, I'm speaking.
Got it.
Thank you. So it's not, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the person.
No,
I'm talking about the person who is dealing with the pregnancy. I am not talking about the cells. I don't care. No, listen. The fetus, the whatever. I don't care about that right now until it is formed. If there is a 5-year-old child who is pregnant and the baby is 2 weeks in utero,
can't get pregnant.
Actually, they have, and they have given birth.
5-year-olds have given pregnant.
There is one recorded case of a 5-year-old girl who gave birth.
Is that common?
Yes, it's common. 5-year-olds get sometimes, and if they get pregnant, I think they should be able to have medical access to something that could save not only just their life, but like their livelihood.
How many, I'm curious.
I hope your daughter lives a very happy life and gets away from you.
Okay, so
Lord. She's just so angry.
She actually thought now I'm talking. Okay, fine. When you have a good point, you don't have to get louder. That was always I used to work, there was one radio show, I remember telling them a multitude of times, if your point's good, you don't have to make it louder.
Right. Yeah. It'll stick.
It'll stick. Trust me, it'll stick. So she just keeps getting louder and louder and louder.
I'm talking Los.
And then it gets down to 5-year-olds getting pregnant. And that is the moment where Charlie Kirk just kind of sits back in his chair and it's like, okay, let's see where this goes. There is a level of crazy. Can you imagine if you based your worldview on some sort of crazy anomaly that you think that you read about in the National Enquirer?
Yeah. Can you imagine?
A 5-year-old getting pregnant? I don't know. I have daughters in my home. I can't imagine that process.
It's happened one time.
It's like, so you're telling me that the most aggressive form of adolescence and kicking into the possibility of having a period and being capable of bearing a child started for this person, this one only, at 5 years old.
I have a hard time believing
And they got pregnant.
I have a hard time believing it, but
it's a crazy leftist woman.
Right. She just screams. Back to my original point when Maureen Dowd said, they're just angry.
They're no fun.
All the time. And if you come up with a point, like Los is saying, they'll just scream louder and be more vitriol and be more angry. We don't have to be like that. And I'm glad we're not. I'm glad conservatives don't go burn things down. I'm glad they don't scream at people. I'm glad they don't pull up next to you and your family and flip you birds for the entirety of the red light, because it's so freaking weird. I don't understand it. I'll never understand it. My sweet Aunt Peg, Swam, she is a person that is always looking to be angry, just like that young woman. I can only imagine that's what she was prior to being where she is now. I bet you know people in your life like that too. Unfortunately, we all do. 8 o'clock hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier experts. 770-GET-HEAT. CentralHeat.com is the website. When we come back, Anna Paulina Luna from Florida.
I knew this first.
Right? See, I didn't know about this because she's got information about JFK that it doesn't surprise me that Los has heard about this, because I'd never heard it a day in my life, and I don't know if you have or not. So wait till you hear it next on Extra.
Finally, a president that will fight for American values.
The American dream is surging bigger and better than ever before.
And finally, an Atlanta news station that covers it the right way. Extra 106.3 isn't about traffic and weather. We care about the stories that matter most to you, your family, and your community. Get traffic and weather on your phone and get Atlanta's only conservative conversation right here on Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
Lord, we need that rain, don't we? I mean, we just need to knock some of the pollen down, because it is brutal outside. Dre put it in his headlines about the amount of pollen.
14,000.
Record-breaking in the state of Georgia. As you head out to your car, if you're not already there, you know that it's not the color that you bought. It is absolutely green. Mine, too. We came over from South Carolina over the weekend, and it wasn't nearly as bad over there. I mean, there was a little dusting. You can see it. When you got back home to Georgia, good Lord, I never seen anything like it. 14,000. Record-breaking pollen. Keep it outside. Work with Central Heating and Air Conditioning. 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. One of the few second-generation, locally owned HVAC companies in Atlanta. They will do it right. They'll fix what ails your house health and your family's health, too. Take the sneezing and leave that outside. Take the coughing and leave that outside. Variable speed, air purifiers, air cleaners, dehumidifiers. They have a plan at Central with the folks at Carrier, your Atlanta Carrier expert Central, to make sure that your house health is good and your family's health is good. They can put you in a new Carrier system if you need it. They can maintain the system, no matter the brand that you have right now, and they can make your house healthy. Call them today. 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com.
Being in an accident really bites. You need people around you that are going to make the whole process easier to deal with. I just described David Van Sant at Van Sant Law. He used to work for the insurance companies. What an advantage. He knows who to call, what to say, and they're not going to pull the wool over his eyes. Give him a call. Van Sant Law, 855-GA-INJURY, vansantlaw.com, 855-GA-INJURY.
A musician with technical knowledge can play all the right notes, but one who cares enough to play from the heart gives music soul. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking. Because when you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Start feeling unstoppable. Visit Truist.com/care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
Atlanta Braves fans, May is Military Appreciation Month and a great time to show your patriotism by purchasing a VIP table at the Warrior Alliance 4th Annual Veteran Impact Awards and Gala. The event will be held on Thursday, May 22nd at the Coca-Cola Roxy Theater at the Battery Atlanta and features dining, live entertainment, and Georgia-based veterans being honored for the significant contributions they are making in our communities. Purchase your VIP table today or make a donation at thewarrioralliance.org.
It's March 31st, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. It's National Crayon Day. For kids and adults alike, take some time to find a box of crayons, a pad of blank paper, and let your imaginations just go. Edwin Binney, along with his cousin, founded the art supply company Crayola in 1885 and have been fueling creativity ever since. Blue remains the most popular crayon, followed by red, violet, and green. Also on this date, in 1889, the Eiffel Tower officially opens as part of the Paris Exposition. Gustav Eiffel's creation would hold the distinction of being the tallest man-made structure in the world for more than 4 decades. And in 1985...
I cannot hear myself even think.
Hulk Hogan and Mr. T beat the team of Rowdy Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff in the main event match of the first WrestleMania at Madison Square Garden in New York City. I'm Tushar Saxena, and that's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
The Dean's List with Janice Dean.
A hero bus driver from Cleveland Heights, Ohio, makes the Dean's List for rescuing students from a fire. The blaze came out of nowhere from one of the rear wheels, and the driver of the bus acted quickly, making sure all 15 kids were escorted off the vehicle, while another driver stepped in to grab the kids and get them to school on time. The superintendent of the area expressed her relief and praised the driver and the students for their reaction to the scary incident, which could have been a whole lot worse, but thanks to evacuation drills and the kids knowing exactly what to do made all the difference. The driver wished to be anonymous, but the whole town expressed their thanks to everyone involved to make sure the students were cared for during and after the incident.
I want to say that we have to be proactive with prayer because I believe that's the reason why nobody was harmed in this situation.
Well done, everyone. You all made today's Dean's List. Janice Dean, Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your headlines for Monday, March 31st. Cobb County servers are back online after a week of interference. Officials say unusual activity was detected and an unauthorized user gained access. Portions of the system were taken offline to evaluate security. Officials have not said if sensitive data was breached. Georgia shattered a previous record for pollen count over the weekend. On Saturday, the pollen count reached over 14,000. The previous record was 9,300. The Georgia legislative session is approaching its end this week. Georgia lawmakers voted down a measure for their own pay increase. This includes Governor Kemp. Today's weather storms moving through the metro area, producing damaging winds and rain. There is a small chance of hail and even a tornado. Temperatures today reach the high 60s. It'll dry out this evening, and we may see record high temperatures later this week. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
8 o'clock hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert. 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. You think front office Los can break down NFL film? You think he can break down draft picks? Wait till he breaks down 14U and under volleyball.
Never give anybody a free ball.
Yeah, he was explaining to me what that is because I didn't know.
On a match point.
Yeah, which that's what happened in one of the other teams in your organization, and they just, bam.
We saw it like all throughout the whole weekend of just different teams. You just like never. It's like go down swinging, man.
That's right.
Just if you're gonna go down,
make an attempt.
Like when we lost one of our matches on Friday. Oh, we were gonna burn it down. It's like just keep swinging. I don't care if you miss.
Absolutely, get after
keep swinging.
Give me all you got, kid. Give me all you got. Anna Paulina Luna is a woman that we pay attention to oftentimes on the show. Not always for her politics, but that too. I mean, that's just part of it.
I'm mostly about the politics.
Yes, we could take it. She would be a trip to Waffle House, no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Waffle House material, discussions. I mean, the woman decided last summer, I'm going to wear a bathing suit, and as soon as everyone gets upset, I'm going to show more of my bathing suit. And then I'm going to go do my work in Congress.
That's exactly right.
Kind of cool.
Yeah.
So Anna Paulina Luna, she's been tasked with, it's the RFK files, the JFK files, the MLK files, having a committee that goes through this, puts it all together, and then disseminates it to the public. So she's been given this responsibility. All right. She ended up making a point that there is, I'm going to have to see it for myself. Because for the longest time, we've always said that it was at least one shooter. There's a lot of people that are all lone gunman theory when it comes to Lee Harvey Oswald, and that he shot from the school book depository building. And
case closed.
And that's the history of what it is. All right, she dropped something that might change a little bit of this. Take a listen.
NBC actually has a video that's never been seen before. We're actually going to be sending a letter requesting that from NBC because it allegedly shows Oswald near the vehicle when the assassination took place, which means that he couldn't have been the shooter. So, again, we're tracking down all this information. But look, there's even a CIA document that came out that Mr. Morley pointed out that actually said that the CIA never bought the lone gunman theory. And so I think the American people had an inclination as to what we were saying, but we never had the hard evidence until now. Director Stone actually told us that he was showed this tape, that it was a secondary copy, and that he said that this could blow open the entire JFK investigation. What I will also tell you, though, Jesse, is he said that NBC's been very, very much so guarding this tape, and so I believe that that tape belongs to the American people. We are going to be sending a letter asking for that tape, and I would encourage everyone to ask NBC to release that tape to the public. It's important, not just for our investigations, but so the American people know the truth as to what happened with John F. Kennedy.
Please tell me there's a hint of truth to this. Only because when Lee Harvey Oswald told you he was a patsy, that he was part of what this was and that he's the fall guy for it, would that not scream that he was being correct?
Yeah. I don't believe the official story, but I'm not convinced.
I'm not either. I need more.
Yeah, just to say it does not. I mean, it creates some waves and it creates some conversation and the possibilities. And had this not been covered up for so many years, I think people would be less likely to believe conspiracy theories all over the place. And there's so many conspiracy theories out there for JFK. There's so many of them. And believe me, I want, I would love to see this. If I were her, I think I would have waited till they had it, saw it. I don't know if she's just trying to put pressure on NBC. I'm trying to figure out her angle on this.
That's got to be it, right? Pressure?
The tactic of saying, we know you have it, you should release it, reach out to NBC, see if they'll release it. I don't know, man.
I mean, she went on Jesse Waters and put it out there in primetime television.
Yeah. Because if this turns out to not be true or never come out, her reputation, her credibility is going to take a bit of a hit.
I still think there's the pressure that goes on of you have to deliver something.
I do, and I don't feel like we have it.
And right now, it's been a whole lot of, all right, whatever the official story is has been the official story, and there hasn't been anything outside of just recognizing that you did have an adversarial relationship between the CIA and the president at the time. Now, how far did it go? Okay, well, that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of.
Yeah.
Did not go anywhere.
That's the thing. And we released all the documents, 80 grand, 80,000 of them. And I still don't feel like I know any more than I did the day before they released them. You know what I mean? Except the relationship stuff.
You know what? I guess it hasn't changed anyone on anything.
No, that's right. If everything's out there and we still know nothing. We still know nothing.
Well, there's decades and decades and decades of these documents. And they've put out tens and tens of thousands. Maybe if there's any kernel of something new in there, who's going to find it in 80,000 documents over the last 50 or 60 years?
Is it terrible to say that I'm just losing hope that we're ever going to know truly what happened? I think the hope keeps fading, at least for me. The hope of knowing what exactly happened keeps fading. Do I believe the official story? No. But do I know what else happened? I have no. It could be a million things.
Do I buy into that there was a former member of the military who is a lone gunman who has no affiliation at all to any other crime or government syndicate? No. Because you've been sold that this is just one crazy dude acting alone.
Right. And I don't believe that either. I believe there was too
much weirdness.
Yeah, it's too much. Absolutely right. I just hesitate if I'm her.
But if you showed me a video of he's not in the school book depository building when this goes on.
Absolutely right, man.
Because wouldn't that blow? Isn't that like what you need to see? Like everything at this day and age, and it's only enhanced. From the 1960s, it was, all right, if it was on the evening news, even if you couldn't see it, you believed it. Because that's what it was.
And that's the only source of information.
Now it's turned into, you have to put it in my face. And you got to loop it and show it to me where I can access it on my smartphone and go, yep, that's exactly what it is. Like the burden of proof is now completely different than it was, 50, 60 years ago.
Without a doubt. You have to provide the evidence. And that's why I'm afraid that she's gotten out over her skis a little bit. Do I want that to be the truth? And she's like, I have no doubt that she wants it, believes that there's something there. I don't believe she's just making it up. I believe that she has run into something that's caused her to believe that, and she wants to put the pressure on NBC, if it exists, to put it out there. I just think with your analysis right there that we have to have the hard evidence that she would wait to see it herself or to get it to go out with it, because again, it's just another layer of conspiracy, and then her credibility.
Does this not show you though a different level? Like you were all caught up in the whole AOC thing. It's like you were looking in the wrong direction. Not only is Anna Paulina Luna going to deliver me the JFK tapes, but she's also going to give me the video of Oswald not being in the school book depository building. Right. And that is going to prove what a patriot and a wonderful woman she is.
Absolutely. If it happens, yes. 100%.
Meanwhile, AOC is just promising you more communism, and you're like, oh, she's so pretty.
No. She is very pretty. So is Anna Paulina Luna. I want to believe, like I already believe AOC. She said we want to be more communist. I believe that she wants to be more communist, for sure. No matter how pretty she is.
I'm going to give you all the communism you want.
That's right, more than you'll even need.
Just watch these ones and twos while I do it, and you're like, okay.
Okay. But Anna Paulina Luna, very, very pretty lady as well. And I want there to be something there, because I don't want her to take this shot.
She's going to deliver the tape.
You believe she will?
I will, at this point, I will take anything
me too.
that continues the discussion and keeps it fun.
Yeah, yeah.
And by the way, I was never somebody that believed in multiple gunmen until after probably 2020.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I lived for a time in Dallas. They line it all out for you. They tell you everything. You just kind of like, okay, well, here's what happened. And then you go through how conspiracy theorists will constantly, when you provide them sound information, then they shift the argument all the time. And that's what happens. After 2020, I'm willing to discuss most anything. Like I told you, like I think the moon landing's a little questionable.
Same here.
I
believe in it mostly.
I think we went there. I don't believe that the pictures that we have from there are from there. I think that we then had to stage them because of some of the damage that they took.
Makes sense to me. Like I mostly believe it, but there's always that hint of, wonder what we were trying to prove by saying we got there first. I'm just saying I could be persuaded. I think most people have at least a kernel of doubt. How can you not?
Anything that makes you question your government, I think, is good.
Yeah, no, me too. I think that's exactly right.
Thank you, Anna Paulina Luna.
Do you remember when you found out that Santa wasn't real as a kid?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you mean, sir. In fact, I think that that's completely silly. In fact,
you're a conspircy theorist.
Exactly, and I would think that, considering that, we're near car line in some areas, maybe we shouldn't be discussing such things.
Sorry, kids.
Lord.
Come back in next hour. We'll talk about it some more.
No, but there are those things that you find out about in life that changes opinion. I see where you're going with that, but this is one of those things where I'm like Los. I have to see the hard evidence. These days, you have to have the hard evidence, and you have to be ready to present it. And I think it's. Is it good for conversation? Yes. Is it good to have conversation? Yes, of course.
Nobody in my house drinks milk, and yet the milk and cookies are always gone on Christmas.
We always leave carrots out. For the reindeer. It's a smart thing to do.
That's the way. I mean, you don't want to abuse the reindeer.
No, you got to feed them. Good Lord, if you don't feed them, who's going to feed them?
Exactly. Not everybody, especially on my street. Not everybody is big on feeding the reindeer.
Well, those people are low down.
Exactly.
So I'm glad you're moving.
I'll make sure I'm going to take it. Yeah. My next street I'm moving to, carrots everywhere.
I'm glad you're moving next week. Get away from those mean people. Liberal white women, we've told you over the years, are just impossible. My sweet Aunt Peg, one of them. The people at the Tesla dealerships. Swam. Right.
Sweetest woman ever made.
Yes, that's right. Which is the truth, and she is. She's a sweet. She'll give you the shirt off your back, but she is. When it comes to politics, angry. Always angry. Never a silver lining. Always angry, just like liberal women. Always angry. And then when you hear Jasmine Crockett going after Byron Donalds because he's married to a white woman, it's interesting how Dems are the only people not okay with interracial marriage. Why is that such a problem for you, ma'am? And then you have this pretzel moment when a nutty liberal white woman says she's no longer dating white men.
Friendly reminder, as a white American woman, I will no longer be dating white men. I'm looking for anything other than a white man. Okay. Just a heads up.
Okay, well, I'm glad you made the pronouncement.
Hearts breaking across America.
Right. And
she's...
Don't tell Jasmine Crockett, though, because she is not going to have any of that.
She's a 10, right?
Yeah, I'm sure she is. Very pretty woman. Absolutely. Just very crazy on top of it. I mean, that's the difference.
They'll ruin your life.
And she's trying to. But but that's the problem. She can't tell Jasmine Crockett that. She can't tell libs that.
I told you.
They're not going to have that.
Your son did this right. He actually met a girl that doesn't mind any of these trappings of liberal white women.
Yeah.
That she just doesn't pay attention to them.
They go to church together. That's the thing.
Does not care about them. And yet they have created it as their own ideology, the way they determine their own self-worth. And the problem is that it's normally by the time they hit like 40, 45 and they're by themselves, do they recognize maybe this was a bad idea. And now they're just left with cats. Yes, cat ladies.
Just everywhere. There's cats everywhere.
Just cats everywhere.
Dude, I don't know what's wrong with this lady. She's buying into, like, how do you...
are dating white men.
All because of her politics. Like, I just can't imagine my politics being so corrupting, so
Well, you told me you're no longer dating white men either.
Well, yeah, but, I mean, it's because I got married. You can't date while you're married, right?
He was out to sea, and then swore these things off, Jerry.
I did, absolutely had to.
He decided he was done with it.
5,000 sailors go out on a carrier, 2,500 couples come back. That's what the Marine Corps used to tell us. They used to laugh at us about it. They used to give us such a hard time about it.
By the way, it's National Crayon Day for all of our Marines out there.
Good Lord.
Love it.
Call in and tell us your favorite flavor.
Yes.
Good call.
Kimmer's just thinking to himself, like, I'm going to go kill him.
Yeah.
I'm going to go wring his neck when I get in.
I may shoot him with this Desert Eagle right in the middle of Dickey Broadcasting, right in front of God and everybody. When we come back, the reason Trump keeps winning is next on the Morning Extra on Extra 1063. Thank you for being here on a Monday.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Monday, March 31st. The Final Four is now set. All 4 1 seeds have reached San Antonio. Auburn, Duke, Florida, and Houston will match up beginning next Saturday night. The Braves are now 0-4 to start the season as they were swept in San Diego. The team moves on to LA to face the Dodgers in a 3-game series beginning tonight. Grant Holmes will be on the mound for the Braves against Tyler Glasnow. First pitch is set for 10:10. You can hear that game on our sister station's brand new app, 680 The Fan. And from the NFL, the tush push play, made famous by the Philadelphia Eagles and the Buffalo Bills, has support within the competition committee to ban the play. The Green Bay Packers proposed banning that play last week. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina. All right, it stops right there with that guy. It starts with me. Hey, it's Front Office Los. Let's talk about Exmark and Howard Brothers. This spring, it's gearing up. You've noticed it. Your lawn might be starting to green up a little bit. Mine started over the weekend. Well, we're now starting to plan those outside projects. Do your project with an Exmark mower. Trusted by pros and homeowners alike, Exmark delivers precision, durability, and power to tackle any lawn with ease. They've got a couple different options for you, whether you want the zero turn or when it comes down to speed, or if you want the walk behind for control. Exmark makes mowing faster, easier, and better. All right, what do you do from here? You got a lawn project, you've been actually kind of planning on maybe updating your lawn equipment. Well, stop on over at Howard Brothers today. See why Exmark is the one to have on your side for this spring. The grass is always greener when you take care of it with Exmark and with Howard Brothers.
Don't miss the Braves home opener at Truist Park April 4th through the 10th when the Marlins and Phillies come to town. Fans can enjoy some fun during the week, including Braves Walk on April 4th, where fans can line the streets of the Battery Atlanta as the team parades down the street and into the ballpark, welcoming in the 2025 season. And of course, the Braves are back with some iconic giveaways and ticket packages like the Chris Sales Cy Young bobblehead presented by Delta Airlines on April 9th. And brand new to the lineup this year, the Hello Kitty ticket package on April 10th, which includes an exclusive Braves and Hello Kitty co-branded light-up figurine. Plus, don't miss the first Kids Club Day on Sunday, April 6th, where the first 3,000 kids will receive a Chris Sale Triple Crown to wear. Some great seats still remain, and it's the perfect way to spend your spring break. Visit Braves.com/promos to check out the fun and freebies during the opening homestand and purchase your tickets. Atlanta Braves Baseball. We are Braves country.
We all know that life can be unpredictable. The moment you're planning that family trip and then the next somebody is sick. And that's why I want to talk to you about the Jace case, your ultimate safety net when emergencies strike. The Jace case isn't just that mess of medications behind the mirror up in the cabinet. It's an organized doctor-prescribed case of life-saving tools paired with a set of cards explaining exactly how and when to use these medications. The case is peace of mind in a time of uncertainty. Imagine having your essential prescriptions right at your fingertips, ready to go when you need them most. Whether it's a sudden allergy flare-up or a common cold, you won't have to scramble to find the help you need. It's about taking charge of your health and being prepared no matter what life throws at you. When you order your Jace case today, use the promo code BECK at jace.com for a discount. Don't wait for the unexpected to catch you off guard. Be ready with the right medications on hand the moment you need them at jase.com, jace.com, promo code BECK.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Retirement means different things to different people. Some folks want to travel the world. Some folks want to spend more time with grandkids. For me, I'm looking forward to spending more time with my guitar. Whether extravagant and robust or simple and cozy, every retirement needs a plan. You wouldn't take a trip without directions. You have to know where you are before you know where you're going. Master Plan Retirement Consultants have helped many like you plan for their own retirement. Not only does Master Plan help you create the roadmap, they join you on the journey. So whether you want to travel the world, become a pickleball champ, or just looking for a good porch, a sturdy rocking chair, and an acoustic guitar, remember to plan well because the destination is worth it. Visit masterplanretire.com to schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Let's be here to enjoy the Left's Meltdown together. Extra 106.3 is dialed into all the latest breaking news and headlines, so you don't have to suffer through the left-wing spin. Get it right from Atlanta's only conservative voice. Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. All I do is win, 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 no matter what. You've heard that song if you've been to ball games. You've heard it over and over and over, especially after the team goes on to win, on to victory. There's just nothing better. And everybody sing, everybody hands go up. Da-na-na-na. You know, and you just on and on. It's so much fun.
Feels a lot better when it's them doing it.
What's that?
And besides, you're also pointing out something it's like Auburn's football song of 2010.
Is it really?
It's
that was
when
theirs?
It hit and when it dropped. And every
with
game.
Cam.
Yeah. And every game when they ended it, that's what they would play in the stadium, and that's the direction you went. And so I'm going to question your dog status.
Well, no, come on, I didn't even know that. So you can't question. I had no idea about that.
Yeah, DJ Khaled, and this is what you gave me.
Ludacris on there too. Lil Jon, is Lil Jon in there maybe?
Yeah, let's see.
I think he lives in Milton. I'm pretty sure.
I think he's local. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he lives in Milton. I'm almost positive of that. But no, you just heard. But maybe then it was. What's that?
I thought you did have Snoop Dogg in it too.
Yeah, but take away the Auburn thing. I mean, that's permeated since.
Yes,
that's 15 years. People have been using it all over the place.
It's very similar to what you get with like "We Are the Champions."
Yes, of course.
Like that song's been around for 40 years, like arena rock, and, and All I Do Is Win is going to be around for 40, 50 years.
Without a doubt, it's
arena
so
rock.
fitting. But when it's your team, don't tell me you don't sing along and put your hands up in the air, because you do. And I feel like right now we're on Team USA, and Donald Trump is the coach. He's the guy that's leading he's the Ted Lasso, if you will, because all we're doing is winning, Los.
This is so smart, because I think part of what happened during the first time that Donald Trump was in office is that the numbers when it came to suburban women who were turned off by him. Now, part of that was just the news media. And what made them love him again was, hey, my grocery prices are insane. Let's go a different direction. And I think some of them did hold their nose and say, this is what I'm doing. It's in the better view. It's in the best interest of my home to try and go a different direction. But I want you to take a listen to this as Donald Trump is asked a question. And here's the opportunity for him to say something about men and women. This is Trump 2.0. This is the guy who, that comedic side is right there. Not just the needle, because he always had the needle. He's ready to go ahead and say, take his shots when he can. But take a listen how he ends up using a little bit of comedy here, and I believe this wins big with women.
What is a woman, and why is it important that we understand the difference between men and women?
Well, it's sort of easy to answer for me, because a woman is somebody that can have a baby under certain circumstances. She has a quality. A woman is a person who's much smarter than a man, I've always found. A woman is a person that doesn't give a man even a chance of success. And a woman's a person that in many cases has been treated very badly, because I think that what happens with this crazy issue of men being able to play in women's sports is just ridiculous and very unfair to women and very demeaning to women. And that's got to be about a 94%. I read today it was a 94% issue. And I watched the other day, a congressman, a well-known Democrat congressman, fighting for the fact that men should be allowed to compete essentially in women's sports. And I say, I hope they keep that going, because they'll never win another election. That's a big deal. But women are basically incredible people, do so much for our country, and we love our women, and we're going to take care of our women.
Yeah, that's pretty much hitting the home run.
Yeah, because that's red meat for regular folks.
Yes.
For those regular dudes that are building all the houses out in the Pacific Palisades in Malibu that was brought up by Adam Carolla, just the regular dudes that don't worry about pronouns, they don't worry about the people they offend, they just go get their hands dirty, get the job done. Regular folks, regular people. That's who he's speaking to. That's the coalition of the UAW folks and the everyday MAGA folks. And I say that like I'm wrap myself in the MAGA flag, and I don't. You and I, neither one have anything with Trump on it, anything that is MAGA related. Can. Yeah, right. But that was brought to us by Seth.
Exactly.
Seth Weathers, owner of Conservative Dad's Ultra Right Beer.
I have more stuff that makes fun of Anthony Fauci than I have that says anything about Donald Trump.
But he's speaking to us.
Yeah.
He's speaking to regular dudes, regular folks that go work. It's back to the 80-20. It's the 80% of the country that understands common sense, knows right from wrong, and doesn't have a problem saying, yeah, that's not right. I don't care for that.
Well, remember on the campaign trail, Donald Trump talked about protecting women, and as the point, and I'm really going to do a hatchet job to this, but he was basically saying we're going to protect you if you want it or not.
Yeah. And he's a guy.
This was a different way of doing it.
It's exactly right.
This was the friendly way of doing it.
The more
articulate
way of doing it. But isn't that what you want to hear? I think that's what the 80% want to hear. Yeah, I'm going to protect women. That's the role of a man, is to protect women. Does it mean women can't protect themselves ever? No. It just means that traditionally the role of protector is carried by a man. Role of mother, nurturer, that's a woman. You and I know that. I mean, that's not even controversial. That's just biology.
That's what it is.
It's just what it is. But the fact that he's able to kind of joke about it, articulate it, and put it out, and there's not any huge stories about it afterwards.
And also then to point out, well, if y'all want to keep going down this road, just know you ain't going to win elections. Have at it.
And so that's exactly what Maureen Dowd had said. That's exactly what all the libs that we've played this morning are all pointing to. I mean, even Jure told me about Gavin Newsom, talking about how toxic the Democrat brand is. He's not the only one. That was the theme, the word of the weekend on all the weekends, especially the Sunday shows. Democrat Party is toxic. And it is.
It is. As of right now.
Because of that.
What they're tied into cannot win elections on a regular basis. Again, you can win in your crazy district. You'll get your House seat. You'll send a senator or two over to Congress. But as far as winning a national election where you have to cater to not just the coast, but the flyover states, you're going to have a really difficult time with that messaging.
Well, yeah. Because those guys they're like, man, I get up early.
But we're going to win Iowa.
Yeah, okay. But they try to convince you of that.
I was like, babe, I was just in Iowa in July. You ain't going to win Iowa.
You can see it. Because those people get up early. They work hard. They take care of their family. They live traditional lives, traditional values. They eat dinner together as a family. I mean, those little things that matter that the Democrat Party poo-poos and downplays and acts like you're insane if you're married for 50 years. Or if you're like my wife and I, married for 24 years in the coming month. They act like you're insane if you even subscribe to how antiquated are you? How backwoods are you? How Neanderthal are you? Do you drag your knuckles as you walk around? Me. Work hard. Whatever. The old Neanderthal thing. They despise you, and they tell you every day, all you have to do is listen. If you listen to them, they will tell you what they think of you. And Donald Trump has gotten the message, and he knows how to spin it right back on them, and I'm glad of it. When we continue, Democrat Congressman Dan Goldman of New York can't be serious about the Biden administration's adherence to the law as he tries to call out Donald Trump, and Pam Bondi will play it for you next after Neil Bort's report and a Fox News update.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
How many of you ever asked a father or a grandfather, what did you do in the war, Daddy? Grandpa, fast forward, liberal household, maybe 15, 20 years from now. What did you do to stop Donald Trump, Grandpa? What did you do when big government was being attacked? What did you do when merit started to win out over racial identities? What did you do, Daddy, to keep men out of women's sports? What did you do, Grandpa, when women started demanding to be called men, and vice versa? What happened to public schools, Grandpa? Now people are homeschooled and they go to private schools and charter schools. What did you do to save public schools? Hey, Daddy, what did you do when people started rewarding success instead of failure? What did you do to stop them from handing out participation trophies? Grandpa, what did you do when they started keeping rapists and other criminals in jail and not just letting them run free? That's so cruel, Grandpa, to keep them in jail, you know. And Daddy, what did you do when they shut down our borders and didn't let just anybody that wanted to be here come across? And what did you do, Grandpa, to save that $1 trillion in government spending that Donald Trump and his crony Elon Musk eliminated? What's your answer? Well, son, well, trans daughter, here's what I did. I got a rock and I scratched Teslas, and I blocked their charging stations. So if you had a Tesla, you couldn't charge it up. That's how bravely your daddy and your grandpa fought the war against individuality, fiscal responsibility, and merit. All we needed was a rock or a car key. You can thank us later. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
This is House Call for Health. If you use a smartwatch to track daily steps or heart rate, there may be another measure to get a better idea of heart health. Researchers say dividing a person's daily heart rate by their daily number of steps provides a more reliable measure of their heart fitness than either number on its own. They analyzed data from nearly 7,000 American adults who provided Fitbit data and their electronic health records to a National Institutes of Health research program. They found people with a higher heart rate per step were almost twice as likely to have type 2 diabetes, heart failure, and high blood pressure. No relationship was found between the new measure and risk of either stroke or heart attack. Researchers say heart rate per step could be used to identify people who might benefit from more heart health screening or from exercises that would improve their heart function. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health on Lisa Brady, Fox News.
WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 9 a.m. hour is presented by Southern Exteriors. Quality and precision you can rely on.
Elon Musk goes to the CIA. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and he'll meet today with Director John Ratcliffe. As Fox's Madeline Rivera reports, Musk keeps pushing Doge's controversial plans to slash federal jobs and spending.
Musk is pushing ahead with his efforts to cut costs as people around the country continue their protests against him. There were several Tesla takedown demonstrations across the U.S. and Europe over the weekend. This comes as vandalism and attacks targeting Tesla property grow.
Musk is the CEO of Tesla. Last night in Wisconsin, he called the protests and threats not cool, as Musk campaigned for a Republican Supreme Court candidate, giving away a few $1 million to voters who signed a petition to get rid of activist judges. As for tomorrow's election in Wisconsin,
we got to pull a rabbit out of the hat next level. We're actually going to have a steady stream of rabbits out of the hat, like it's an arc of rabbits flying through the air and landing in a voting booth.
Now, there are two special House elections also tomorrow in Florida. Randy Fine, the Republican in what polls show is a close race to replace National Security Advisor Mike Waltz in Congress, tells Fox.
The important thing is for those who agree with President Trump
who support the Trump agenda. My opponent is endorsed by Bernie Sanders.
President Trump is touting Liberation Day, which is what he calls Wednesday, when new U.S. reciprocal tariffs go into effect, targeting all countries, he says, that have tariffed American exports.
The tariffs will be far more generous than those countries were to us.
The president on Air Force One last night, flying back to Washington, also said he's considering new tariffs on Iran and Russia. 4 American soldiers remain missing in Lithuania, but the Army vehicle they were in has been pulled from a swamp today.
Poland's been helping out too, sending scuba divers and equipment to assist in the search. The 4 U.S. soldiers and their vehicle went missing at the Pobrady training ground near the border with Belarus last Tuesday.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. The search continues for survivors under earthquake level in Burma, more than 1,700 people dead. America's listening to Fox News.
You've likely heard about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too, with their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. An easy, affordable way to see how it could literally change your life. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally, developed by doctors. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily. It helps reduce or eliminate pain. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. Trying it couldn't be easier with their 3-week quick start for only $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call. 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Wherever you're having pain, every day you feel better is a day you live better. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start today. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Tired of all the negative media manipulation? Wake up feeling right with the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station.
Tug and Los until 10 on Extra 106.3 404-741-1230 is the number on a bit of a gray, rainy Monday in Metro Atlanta. Glad that you're here and appreciate you spending time with us. It's all set. The Final Four all set. Number 1 seeds. Only the second time this has ever happened. And Los and I had talked about this last week, and I don't think either of us realized that had happened before, but I guess this is indeed the second time, Los.
Well, I feel like I've been lied to by Grok.
Yeah.
So I asked Grok if that had ever occurred a couple weeks ago.
And Grok was like, no.
Grok was like, you've had 3 of them. So Grok lied to me.
Liar.
I guess. I mean,
stinking low down.
I'm going to ask Grok again.
Yeah, right. But fascinating to see it all come down because we were just talking about it, and I say never, almost never works out that way, and it's always the joke that the number 1 seeds, all of them never make it, and sure enough, this time around it has. The games weren't necessarily compelling over the weekend. Everything kind of was a blowout. Watching the Tennessee game last night, blowout. Watching the Auburn game, blowout.
Duke, Alabama.
Yep. And Jure, I just found out Jure was an Alabama fan. I had no idea.
Yeah. Roll Tide.
There you go.
My old man's been watching since Bear Bryant, so yeah. Mainly football, but that hadn't gone our way in the past couple of years either.
Yeah, well, I don't think they hired the right coach, to be honest with you. But you don't want to be the guy that follows the guy. Gosh. Who wants to be the guy that follows Nick Saban? And he's trying to do his own thing, but his own thing, I'm just not convinced of. We'll see how it all shakes out. You can tell me I'm crazy, I guess.
You're crazy.
Do you think I am?
No, but
yeah, just because I asked you to.
Yeah,
well, you're kind.
I mean, you're asking for it. I was like, I thought you had something you needed in your life.
Give it right back to.
It's like I got to have this. Call me crazy, please.
Please. What'd you find out with Grok over there?
All right, so Grok says in the context of the NCAA men's basketball tournament, there has never been a year where all 4 number 1 seeds reached the Final Four since the tournament expanded to 64 teams in 1985. The closest instances occurred and it goes through 87, 93, 97, 99. Then in 2008 says the most notable year where all 4 1 seeds, Kansas, Memphis, North Carolina, and UCLA, reached the Final Four for the first time in the modern era. Kansas ultimately won the championship against Memphis. So you just finished telling me that it hasn't happened, and then you answered correctly.
08's the one that I'd heard about this morning.
Right.
Yeah, and maybe even last night as we're watching some of the game. But, yeah, I mean, I love college basketball. Don't get me wrong, I do.
Maybe it's just that Grok can't talk about sports.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, maybe all the info hadn't been.
Grok can write some songs, though.
Yeah, no kidding, buddy, and write them in great detail about people like Kimmer people like myself. Who else have you wrote songs about, or Grok wrote songs about?
Well, I mean, yours is my favorite.
Yeah, well, look, when Daddy left smoking, never came back.
Because that's all I did was I said, Grok, write me a song. I was like, I need you to use it to, I'm trying to remember what Alabama song we were using.
Like Dixieland Delight, maybe?
Dixieland Delight. And I just said, I need you to write a song about Tug. But then I had to say, so Tug's dad went for cigarettes and never came back. Right. Tug lives in the mountains.
Yeah.
And he goes down barefoot to the corner store to get news of the war for Ma and Pa.
That's right.
And then he met a girl at a watering hole, and he thought he got her pregnant, but he didn't.
Mm-mm.
And so I thought that was like the good makings of a country song.
No, it is. Absolutely, man. That is...
and then you went into the Navy.
Yes, that's right. Do you have that, Jeray? Do you have that anywhere? If not, no sweat. You don't got to go get it.
I'll have it up right now.
Okay.
Because
it was an exceptional song.
It was a pretty good country song.
And then...
old storyteller, like 70s style country song.
For sure. It had a little folk feel to it.
Yeah.
And then Bullets for Love that you wrote when it comes to the Kimmer.
I didn't write that. All I just said was Kimmer is giving bullets away, and people are having a hard time with it.
But it's amazing. You may not have written it word for word, but it is. That's my favorite of all the songs.
That is my favorite that AI has ever produced.
And you'll hear some AI work on this show once in a while.
We like it.
Yeah.
Here we go.
It's which one is this one?
Oh, this is
yours.
Here we go. Yes.
I mean, listen to that. Like,
nice little twang.
Yeah.
Sitting on the porch with a sweet
Kicking
tea.
and grinning.
Ridge from Dalton Town. Tug's got his stick, he's heading down. Mama's waiting with the news to hear about the war that's buzzing far and near. Tanny left for smokes one fateful day. Never came back, just faded away. Trailer home with critters round. 2 coons and a llama saddle
I forgot your mom has a saddle-bound llama, and she lives with 2 raccoons.
And a llama.
A little bit of projection in there about the llama with a saddle.
Yeah, well.
Lowe's dreams are in the AI.
Yeah, exactly. Just need a little saddle-bound llama.
That's right, dude. Who wouldn't want a saddle llama? I mean, who would not want that?
Living free.
Yes, sir.
In a world so wide.
Yeah.
Down from the mountains with that rebel pride.
There you go, man.
See? Feels
It's a
good.
day. It does. It does. It does feel good to have a song written about you. Especially when it's mostly true, especially the trailer wall of animals. Goodness gracious.
Funny.
Oh, I forgot to tell y'all the huge news.
Oh, yeah. What do we got?
Giant news.
Wait, hold on. Before you get into this, does it have anything to do with Jerry and I, or is it just you?
It's Mama.
Oh, okay.
Dude, I've not shared that because she just shared this with me. I got a text out of the blue on Saturday, and it says, call me. And I was like, okay. I was like, is everything okay? She was like, it's wonderful. And I was like, oh, Lord, all right. So I call her. We're at the ball game. I call her. And I was like, what is it, Mama? She said, do you remember when I told you that Sylvester Stallone was going to be filming in the trailer park? And I said, yes, ma'am, I do. She was like, they're also going to pay me $1,000.
What?
I was like, what? I thought it was bullcrap. I thought she had just gotten this story sideways.
Wait, is this in conjunction with his television show?
Yes.
Oh.
They film in the trailer park Mama lives in out in Loganville. And I forget what it's called.
Is it Tulsa King?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And so she was telling me about this, and I was like, Mom, are you sure about that? Are you positive? And she was like, yes. They've been cleaning up a trailer that's next to hers, cleaning up the property, pressure, all of it, right? And because they're going to be filming there soon, and because it overlaps into her yard, some of the equipment's going to need to be staged in her yard. They're going to pay her $1,000 for that inconvenience. And she was like, "It's not even an inconvenience. I get to look at Sylvester Stallone."
I would have called your mama.
I would have paid them.
I would have called your mama a liar, but as I find from AI, so season 1 of Tulsa King filmed primarily in Oklahoma City and surrounding areas. Season 2 is filming in the Atlanta area, in and around Georgia.
Right.
Nailed it.
Mama's going to get $1,000.
Good for her.
For them using just a very small portion of the edge of her grass, her yard. She called, y'all, you would have thought she had won $1 million lottery jackpot. She was like, I love Sylvester Stallone. He's always been my favorite. Boy, he's a good-looking man. And, so that was the huge news of the weekend.
Congratulations,
Yeah,
Mama.
she thought it was great. And so do I.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. It's super cool. She was like, I've never seen anybody record anything like that before.
So a friend of ours, Matt Chernoff, who works down the hall, he's afternoon drive host with our sister station.
Mm-hmm.
He's talked about his lifelong goal. He wants to be an extra in a movie or a television show.
I was an extra on Vampire Diaries.
Okay, see, you've accomplished this. He's yet to be this. You know what's going to happen when I tell him that Mama has a possibility of showing up in Tulsa King?
Buddy. I don't know that Mama will show up, but if they pan, they might get a corner.
They might want a scene where it's just regular folk.
You can't ever tell.
Sitting outside on the trailer.
Yeah, totally could be. Yeah. Sitting on the tailgate of the truck, eating some chicken fingers.
You think she could go down kind of like an Arlie Ermy path? Like, do you know
hollering and screaming?
Well, so Arlie Ermy, when it came to Full Metal Jacket, was brought in initially as a consultant,
right? But then he did so well.
And they recognized he was so good at playing the drill sergeant. They're like, why don't we just cast Arlie Ermy? If they're looking for, nice, down home country mama,
she could nail it. And she wouldn't need to rehearse. I mean, it would not be fake. It would be the real deal.
I think what she needs to do, she needs to go outside, sit on the porch with her raccoon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to drill it home. Like, man, she country. That's exactly the person we're looking for.
She's the consult on the country critters.
She could do it. She can do anything. To be honest with you, this woman could do anything. There's nothing that I think my mama can't do.
Just
zero.
Pets the raccoon. And of course, all of Hollywood's going to be looking over there going like, is she just petting the raccoon and looking at Sylvester?
Yes. She's holding the raccoon close into her bosom and watching Sylvester Stallone.
Just petting it like a diabolical cat.
If I could just pet Sylvester this way, But yeah, she was super, super excited about it, and I'm happy for her. God, she was like $1,000. She thought it was the greatest day.
It's pretty cool.
It is. And she said she's going to put it right into a CD over at the bank. See if she can get some extra interest off of it. Right, that's immediately where she's going. She's a saver by nature. That's where I get it to. I want to play you a piece of audio from Dan Goldman. This dude is as wacky. This dude is... It's hard to take him serious, to be honest with you. Because, I mean, he conveniently never mentions anything about Biden dementia.
It's contrarian in nature.
Totally.
Like, it's going against the norm, but it doesn't acknowledge that what he's bringing up has no basis in, the rest of our lives. Like, if you want to talk about Donald Trump having dementia, why didn't you ever talk about Joe Biden having dementia?
13 people dead. Border wide open. COVID, as we've talked about this morning. Russia collusion, not a word. Signal messages which harm no one, that's a huge deal.
The fact is, Donald Trump fired the Inspector General of the Department of Defense just for this reason, which is so that there is no accountability for his unqualified political appointees who he had to know were going to make significant mistakes. And the fact that Pam Bondi is not going to investigate what is so clearly warrants an investigation just goes to show how much she is actually politicizing the Department of Justice, despite her promises repeatedly at her confirmation hearing that she would not do that. The only reason an attorney general would not start an investigation into this is because of political favor and partisan reasons. And that is clear that it is driving Pam Bondi.
Okay. Now, this is a guy that was he saying anything during the Biden administration? As we know, they corrupted the DOJ and used it for political reasons, went after Donald Trump, the number one political enemy of Joe Biden. Where was Dan? Can't remember hearing from him. I'm thinking he was quiet, sitting on his hands, Los.
If I was doing that television show, I would sit there and listen to the congressman bring up his points and articulate them about what Pam Bondi's doing and what they should do moving forward and who needs to be out of work and who needs to resign their position. And I would say, Dan, I think you're making a very good point. I acknowledge all of it and it doesn't matter. You can't do anything about it. In fact, Dan, because you lost. And winners get to do what we want to do. If you want this power back, go explain to the American people why you're a better option than I am. Until then, these are baby carrots. I need you to sit on one at a time.
And good luck.
Tell me how they feel.
Getting somebody to believe that you're the better option. They've already shown you that you weren't the better option. They had what you were selling and serving and decided, you know what, we're going to turn over the entirety of the government to Donald Trump, who you told us is a dictator, because we think so poorly of what you do in your message.
Dan, you were so bad at governing that they gave the government to Hitler to Mussolini.
Yeah.
All of them wrapped into one. The devil incarnate. You actually handed the government back to a reality television star.
And
so don't tell me about what Pam Bondi should be doing. I'll tell you that the winners won.
That's right. They did, and they will continue to win.
If she wants to politicize the office, I wouldn't really be.
Yeah, we don't want her to do that.
But if she wants to,
the precedent's already there.
Why don't you stop her?
The precedent is already there.
Vote out Donald Trump, and when he wants to run for the third term, see if you can beat him,
buddy. You want to talk about?
I'm sorry, I actually jumped the gun there.
No, it's good. No, it's perfect. That's exactly where we're headed. Because Donald Trump loves to rattle the cage. He knows how to draw them off sides, to use Los's analogy, which is so spot on. I mean, he is going on the clap instead of the snap. And they don't know what to do with him because they're so distracted with that, they can't pay attention to what he's actually getting accomplished, which is a good thing.
I just like that when he jokes about it, then he tells you in a very Joe Biden way, not joking.
Not joking, pal. Not joking,
So he told NBC News,
Oh,
talked about it the third term.
Oh, I know.
Not
And this is the second or third time he's brought it up. He does it because he knows they're going to melt down. He knows that they're not going to be able to focus. He knows that their toxic brand won't even let them rally around any one message, not any that matter anyway. Like that one doesn't matter at all, and he knows it. It's just like chumming the water. You know, when you're trying to get the sharks to come up on Shark Week, they'll chum the water.
Watch them all get to the surface. That's how he does it.
That's exactly what he's doing, man.
Let me see if I can make them crazy.
Yep.
Third term. We're looking into it.
That's right. And then back to just quickly about the signal gate that Dan Goldman was talking about. And this
signal gate.
You put gate on the end of anything, right?
A vodka gate.
Vodka gate. Yes, exactly. But the thing that come out over the weekend, and I thought it's not my original idea, but it made so much sense when I heard it shared on social media so many times this weekend. If this was such sensitive information, such classified, secret, top secret TSI information, then wouldn't the guy that released it be arrested for treason if he's sharing these state secrets, state secrets from this signal message? He'd be put in jail.
Yes, you'd be worrying about the legality of having released that information, even though you're a member of the press.
Right. If that were the fact, if it was so sensitive, he would have never done it because he would have worried about his own skin. He'd be saying, I can't release this. These are government secrets. I can't do it.
I mean, we're still busy trying to chase down Edward Snowden.
Yeah.
For releasing information like this.
Yeah. But he knew it was going to be fine. Is it embarrassing? Yes, we've said that. Everybody says
it's sloppy.
Donald
that's
Trump,
all.
Yeah, sloppy. Donald Trump has even said, we're going to clean this up. We got to. Yeah, for sure. But if that's your big gotcha,
you're losing a lot.
All we do is win, 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 no matter what.
You are losing badly if this is your gotcha.
Yeah, it is. And to be honest, we've had MSNBC on all morning. I've not seen it brought up one time.
Nope. They got their 48 hours out of it.
And that's all it was worth. It was going to die over the weekend, and it has.
If you're still on that, then you're at least 2 or 3 days behind.
Yeah. So Aunt Peg's probably still on it. She'll be sharing posts about it on Facebook a little later.
Swim.
Yes, sweet Aunt Peg.
Sweetest woman ever made.
That's right. Give the shirt off her back. Politics are crazy as a Bessie bug. When we continue, Trump was right about everything, including COVID mortality rates. Los is going to hit this out of the park for you. 9 o'clock hour is brought to you by Southern Exteriors. Your home exterior solution since 1999. 10% off any job or 12 months, 0% financing, doors, windows, shutters, siding, roof, gutters. They do it all. Everything on the outside of your home. 8779-SOUTHERN, southernexteriors.co, southernexteriors.co.
How do you jumpstart your day? With a Morning Extra on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
I don't know why it takes something catastrophic for the Democrats and those establishment Republicans. I don't know why it has to be catastrophic for them to finally see what's going on. How about we head it off before it becomes catastrophic? Tug for Southern Exteriors. You know we got rain coming in. And now it's going to be good because it knocks some of this pollen down. We're in, just incredible pollen numbers. I mean, it is overwhelming, the amount of pollen that's in the state of Georgia right now. We came over from South Carolina yesterday after spending the weekend over there, and it wasn't nearly this bad. It will be at some point, but Georgia's taking the cake. But some of the rain will be good. Now, might not be good for your roof. If you got a leak in the roof, this is going to be detrimental to your home, your biggest investment. You don't want to do that. And they're not storm chasers at Southern Exteriors. They're not knocking on the doors in the neighborhood just because they're doing a job at your house. I've seen that happen. People get, roof put on. Hey, you want a roof too? We'll get the insurance to pay for it. It's great. They don't do that. They've been doing this for 25 years. They know storm damage cannot wait. They offer free emergency response, free estimates to assess the damage to get your home back on track. They're not storm chasers. They're your neighbors. They live here. They work here. And they've weathered the same storms that you have. With this rain coming in, do not hesitate to call Southern Exteriors. Get a professional assistant for your home or your business. 877-9-SOUTHERN, southernexteriors.co. 877-9-SOUTHERN, southernexteriors.co. Do not wait.
Hey, this is Tom from The Honest Car Guy. We help you buy your next pre-owned car or truck honestly. We guarantee each vehicle we sell will come with a copy of the bill of sale, showing what we paid for it. You pay what we pay, plus a disclosed fee. Guaranteed. Honesty is the best policy, and we guarantee it. Finally, a pre-owned car and truck buying process that you can trust.
Get an honest car buy from The Honest Car Guy. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME-1, or visit honestcarguy.com.
Georgia Tech baseball is battling through the heart of the ACC schedule right in the heart of Midtown Atlanta. Don't miss your chance to cheer on the Jackets as they take on key conference rivals.
Goose tattoos this one into left field. Outfielders won't even move as this one clears the scoreboard and left. An absolute goose bomb over the left field wall.
Purchase your seats today at ramblinwreck.com/tickets. Sting 'em.
Senior Bid Manager positions offered by CETA Information Network and Computing USA, Inc. in Atlanta, Georgia. Leads and manages virtual bid teams across a matrix structure. Acts as the main point of contact for the internal teams on bids. Will successfully drive and manage the virtual team to close new and renewal business opportunities related to strategic, large, and/or complex solutions. Submit resume to gosia.mikoolajczYk@sita.aero.
Ready for a home upgrade without all the hassle? Give your home a fresh look for 2025 with new custom window treatments from Blinds.com, where real design experts make the complex really super simple. Forget about everything you thought you knew about shopping for window treatments. Blinds.com's design experts are ready to help you with everything. From selecting the perfect styles to scheduling the installation. Have a complicated project? No problem. Blinds.com can make it simple. Tanya and I have worked with their designers several times, and they can schedule a free professional measure for you. We also love you can shop from the comfort of our own home and our schedule. At Blinds.com, there's no haggling and no pressure, no hidden fees. They'll even send samples right to your door fast and free. Blinds.com has covered over 25 million windows and backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee. Shop Blinds.com right now and save up to 40% with the minimum purchase. Up to 40% off for a limited time at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Things at the ballpark are really heating up. If too much celebrating leaves you in trouble after the game, it's important to know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds. We handle bonds from the stadium to the city, and in most cases, we can have you or your loved one out in a matter of hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 770-627-3235 or online at atlbail.com.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your headlines for Monday, March 31st. Cobb County servers are back online after a week of interference. Officials say unusual activity was detected and an unauthorized user gained access. Portions of the system were taken offline to evaluate security. Officials have not said if sensitive data was breached. Georgia shattered a previous record for pollen count over the weekend. On Saturday, the pollen count reached over 14,000. The previous record was 9,300. The Georgia legislative session is approaching its end this week. Georgia lawmakers voted down a measure for their own pay increase. This includes Governor Kemp. Today's weather storms moving through the metro area, producing damaging winds and rain. There is a small chance of hail and even a tornado. Temperatures today reach the high 60s. It'll dry out this evening, and we may see record high temperatures later this week. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
Morgan Wallen had enough of SNL. After he played his song, they gathered there at the end of the show, to wave at the camera and all that. And he just did a drop step. He hugged the lady that was the host of SNL and walked straight out. Like, everybody noticed, and it became a big deal. But there's a lot of people in that SNL crowd, meaning on stage, that probably don't match the way Morgan Wallen lives or the things that he cares about. It's kind of like the odd bedfellows, because him there was kind of sticking out like a sore thumb. It's kind of like the UAW folks, those people, and MAGA Republicans being bedfellows. It just, you wouldn't naturally put them together.
I think leadership of UAW is probably different.
Yeah,
I think that when you think about like just the working class dude, that woman, that man, they've largely been Trump supporters.
Yeah, that's right.
It's interesting that you just now see their leadership talk about these tariffs and how good they are for their industry.
They're late to the party.
Yeah.
But it's no surprise, because they have connections they're probably trying to protect. Where the worker just says, give me the best situation I can get so I can raise
deal.
Yeah, so I can raise my family right.
Absolutely.
And I've never been a union guy. Private unions are fine. Public unions, like government stuff, I don't like at all.
Yeah, you're negotiating against the taxpayer.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels very awkward.
It does. And it feels almost sinister a little bit that it's been put. It's like there's a reason they put it together like that.
Yeah, I don't have any issue if you're talking about your auto workers or you're building airplanes or anything else, and you want to negotiate collectively against the company. Fine. Is it a union for me? No, it's not for me.
Yeah.
It's just not for me. But I understand that organizing is going to allow you to have more power and more strength, bargaining wise. For everyone as an average. But when it comes to public sector, I feel like it's very gross.
It is.
Like your teachers and their representatives are then negotiating with the state over what their compensation package should be. And
if you're going to pay in taxes.
And if you do not meet it, they won't teach your kids.
Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah,
it's just yuck.
I won't build your car, Mazda, so that you can't sell it in the dealership. Okay, that's different than, well, fine, then I won't teach your kid.
That's exactly right. So those unusual bedfellows come together, but I found that interesting, because Morgan said something as he, right at the end of his song, he was like, God bless y'all and go Vols. And it spoke to my heart. I'm not a Tennessee fan, but I know where that was coming from. I would have said the same thing. I would have just said go Dogs. And they don't like him, and he don't necessarily like them. And that's okay. He did, and that's the thing. Saturday Night Live needed him more than he needed Saturday Night Live.
At this point, yeah, he's bigger than that show.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. And they should be proud that he gave in, but he was ready to get out of there. He posted a picture of the little private jet that he had rented to get him out of there, and it just said, get me back to God's country. Get me back to real people, because none of these people are.
Have you ever seen, I think it's the 94 or 95 season of Saturday Night Live, how they finished the season? It was Phil Hartman's last show, and it's the entire cast, and they're singing together, and a lot of them are in character, like the most famous characters during that year.
Yeah.
And it's one star after another.
Yeah.
Like you went like, wow, this guy. To think that Michael Myers would create Austin Powers and we would all go, okay, that's kind of what it was. But to then see, okay, who fills up arenas when they go do comedy? Chris Rock does. Chris Farley obviously had his thing. It's one person after another, that entire cast. Adam Sandler, to this day, makes big budget movies.
Absolutely. He's got that deal with Netflix. But if you looked at the cast as it's currently configured,
just doesn't have the same kind of
no star power.
Yeah, it's not the same.
A very little star power. I mean, Kenan Thompson's a relative star. Colin Jost is a relative star, I guess. But, I mean, Pete Davidson was probably the biggest most recently.
Probably.
And he's not there. So, I mean,
he spent like his year or two, and then he was out the door.
On.
Now, I will say, when you go back to 2020 and the entire Aunt Jemima, Count Chocula, all of them being canceled, that is one of the funniest skits I've seen in probably about a decade on Saturday Night Live.
No, they have their moments.
But I'm Aunt Jemima.
You can't do this. But that's the thing. They've had their moments.
Yes.
Over and over again, even in the worst of situations and casts and even in their wokest, they have their moments. And we talked about we've talked about it a bunch of times. The one that came 3 years too late was the COVID vacation. I get COVID, so I get 7 days off, whatever. So they missed. They completely whiffed. You and I laughed about it. Like, if this had been 3 years ago during COVID instead of 2023, this would have been edgy. It would have been cutting edge. It would have been funny. And, it got no play really because of that, because it was so late.
Well, and I think this audio really plays into this. So when everything was first going down, now 5 years ago, as we're getting into, like, remember, we didn't even get to March Madness. We got to tournament play as far as conference tournaments, and then everything got shut down. We never got a basketball tournament.
It was supposed to be here in Atlanta.
It was supposed to be here in Atlanta.
I still have the Coca-Cola bottle.
We're supposed to have it here. Final Four is going to be here. What then occurred was, I remember looking into the data that the South Koreans had on COVID, because they were publishing all their information. And they had it as a 0.04% was the mortality rate of cases. 0.04%. Now, in our country, which is wildly unhealthy, which we have when it comes to all the health risks in the world, whether it's our blood pressure, our diabetes, all the issues that we have, ours was 0.03%. So we were right in line with what the South Koreans found. Okay, 0.03%. Yet the media ran with almost a 4% number. I want you to take a listen as Donald Trump, this is a montage where Donald Trump brings up what he believes the number to be. Again, this is based on the South Koreans, and also the Israelis had this data. And yet the media ran with it, which also then made making fun of it on Saturday Night Live, you couldn't do.
A new warning from the World Health Organization, the death rate from the coronavirus is rising. 3.4% is higher.
Twice as deadly as previous estimates. 3.4% state of emergency.
Well, I think the 3.4% is really a false number. Based on a lot of conversations with a lot of people that do this, I think the number is way under 1%.
So to fact check, the World Health Organization says the coronavirus death rate is 3.4%.
President Trump lies that the World Health Organization is wrong. The number is 3.4%.
3.4% is what it's being reported around the world.
Making it deadlier. So much death.
The death rate. The percentage is 3.4%. And no hunch from the president can change that.
Trump lied about the most recent World Health Organization estimate that the global death rate of coronavirus is 3.4%.
So they were only off by a power of, 10?
Yeah. Who listens to The Who? Because I don't trust this global organization that is hell-bent on globalism. They back globalists, they back Marxists, they back communists. And I'm glad Donald Trump pulled us out of the WHO, man.
Yeah.
Because for that reason alone. And all of those fools that we just listened to all still have jobs.
They were parroting a number that was meant to be fear porn. Again, I'm looking at this thing going 0.04. Well, it's not terrible. And I still remember making a comparison at the time to Ebola. And I was pointing out how Ebola, far more deadly. Ebola, though, burns through a society so fast that's why it never spreads. It never goes pandemic level. It hits an area, it burns through, it burns everybody out, and then that's it. It goes away. This was different in that because of the lack of a crazy mortality rate, that was why it stayed so long.
Yeah, it could be shared and was and passed around.
But the media was only off by a power of 10.
But that's just one opportunity to be wrong. Like, I think...
Like, is there a certain point where you just go, wow, Trump... What was it, the hat that Elon had?
Trump was right about everything.
Trump was right about everything.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if they were just off about that, then maybe somebody could say, okay, well, they got it all wrong. They were listening to these health organizations. Okay,
you fooled us.
But what happens when you add in Russia collusion? What happens when you add in Hunter Biden laptop? What happens when you add in Biden dementia? What happens when you add in all those? You don't believe any of them, and you shouldn't. And I would say, look, don't even believe us. Go look it up. Go find.
By all means, have at it.
Go research everything that we're talking about. Go search for everything that we're talking about. I wouldn't recommend Google. If you want to get to some truth, I would not recommend Google. I'd do a DuckDuckGo or something. I would avoid any of those outlets that are restricting information. And it's funny to see, because that was the downfall, in the opinion of the left, of Twitter when Elon Musk bought it. He was like, well, they're going to let them say anything. Yes, that's exactly right. And then You got Facebook now, a few years later going, well, we're going to follow that model too. So they're losing their grasp and their ability to send messages out that are nonsensical, that are flat out fake news. And Donald Trump is proven right again, and I know that drives them crazy.
So I did spend a little bit of time over the weekend. I listened to a Rogan podcast, and I listened to Dr. Suzanne Humphreys. And she was the woman who, she wrote a book like in late 2008, 2009, ended up being published, that just talked about it's our preconceived notions of what has been our health status and what we've done to ourselves with some of the chemicals that we have in our food, the inoculations we take, it just runs the gamut of everything. And to have her always say, here's my information, here's where it's cited, you can go look it up. It was always like, you can take my word for it, but here, I'm going to point this out. Now, she says in the book, she says out of all the stuff they put, she's like, they had to make a correction. She's like, and we made the correction to the book. It's like, everything in there you can cite, and here's where it came from. It's so, if you don't believe me, go look at the study. I'm like, that's as good as it gets for me. That's what we always tell people.
That's all we
I'm
ask
passing
for.
the information along. By the way, you can look into it for yourself, too.
Transparency is all we look for. And I love, speak kind of on this same thing with RFK. He's up in West Virginia celebrating with them because West Virginia has been the first state that I know of to ban certain types of chemicals being in foods. I love the fact that West Virginia, the ones that the Democrats and the left, they despise those blue-collar workers.
They're so backwards.
They're so dumb.
Coal country.
But are they? Or are they leading the way? Because it certainly looks like they're leading the way to me.
Kind of like the idea of West Virginia leading the way.
Me too, dude. I love West Virginia.
Them mountain people.
Take me home. Those are good folks. Dude, those Appalachian folks are good folks. They get looked over. They get laughed at. They get scoffed at. They get told they're backwards. They get told they're stupid. And then they produce somebody like J.D. Vance.
And then they go down to the local store to get
cigarettes.
Word of the war from Mom and Pa.
Yeah, right, and cigarettes, and then Daddy runs off. Sad story. Some of it doesn't always end positive.
It doesn't always end in a friendly way.
Yeah, right. It's just not always banning chemicals. Sometimes
Daddy
it's
said,
real.
I'll see you when you grow up.
That's right, boy.
See you later.
I'll at you later, kid. But no, I think it's terrific.
No, I agree.
And
I like that.
I love the fact that he jokingly is calling out Donald Trump for his bad, eating McDonald's and Diet Coke and whatever. And he's like, maybe we'll get him on a diet a little bit because Trump's lost 30 pounds.
Yeah, he does look like slim down.
Yeah, he has. I'm not sure what he's doing or how he's doing it. Probably just being active because he's always moving. He's always on the trail.
You can't drop weight these days without everyone being like,
we go V.
Yeah. What'd you plug yourself with?
Yeah, what's the other one?
Ozempic.
Ozempic, thank you. Yes.
Like, did you plug yourself with Ozempic?
No.
Yeah, I know a couple people who have gone down
me
that
too.
road.
I know people that are doing it now.
Yeah, it's worked for them. I'm like, good for you. I just have no interest.
Yeah, no, thank you. I don't want any part of it either. I've been going and working out a little bit.
Yeah.
At least getting up to twice a week. Can't ever tell. Maybe I'll get a little more, but at least twice a week, which is good. And I can feel the difference, dude.
Yeah. Oh, you'll notice
Always.
On like endurance.
Yeah.
You'll notice on a handful of things you do around the house where you go, that's easier.
Yeah. I wish.
Your singing has gotten a lot better. It's got all that extra capacity.
Yeah, right. I don't know that it's improved. It's very kind of you to say that, but it's not. I don't think it's improved. I think it's still very poor. I like to do it though. Sing, man. I was singing driving home to South Carolina. My wife's like, "Can you just not sing all the time?" Because it doesn't matter if it's Pearl Jam or Kenny Chesney. I'm singing at the top of my lungs driving down the road. Like, look, if you want to drive, I'll sit over here and
Does she sit in the back of the car like Miss Daisy?
No.
You just drive?
No, she's a great co-pilot. She is, man. She makes sure you have everything you need. And if you don't, she'll figure out a way to get it to you.
My wife is terrible. She doesn't even say anything on car trips.
No?
Yeah, like she gives you like a gummy or sodas, or she opens up things for you, and then she doesn't talk. She just goes to sleep and stuff.
Yeah, Laura does fall asleep a little bit. I'll admit that. We'll wrap up the show next. On Extra 106.3, Tug and Los 9 o'clock hours brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999. Got some rain in the forecast. Do not let that roof go another day without being repaired. If you've got a leak or some damage up there that needs to be done, make sure you get it taken care of before the rain comes in. Call them at 877-9-SOUTHERN or southernexteriors.co or southernexteriors.co. When we come back, the aliens have visited. It's back in 1996. and let's talk about that next.
Wow, what a downplay. This is really about you.
This is the Morning Extra.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Monday, March 31st. The Final Four is now set. All 4 1 seeds have reached San Antonio. Auburn, Duke, Florida, and Houston will match up beginning next Saturday night. The Braves are now 0-4 to start the season as they were swept in San Diego. The team moves on to LA to face the Dodgers in a 3-game series beginning tonight. Grant Holmes will be on the mound for the Braves against Tyler Glasnow. First pitch is set for 10:10. You can hear that game on our sister station's brand new app, 680 The Fan. And from the NFL, the tush push play, made famous by the Philadelphia Eagles and the Buffalo Bills, has support within the competition committee to ban the play. The Green Bay Packers proposed banning that play last week. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
What's the mystery behind Mystery Valley Golf Course? Is it the fact that it's been voted one of Atlanta's must-play courses? Or is it the fact that it's conveniently located from anywhere in Atlanta? Or maybe it's because Mystery Valley has recently renovated the course, adding all new tipped Bermuda putting greens, upgrading all 66 sand bunkers, and improving the clubhouse and amenities all around. No matter what it is, Mystery Valley Golf Club has been a staple of the Atlanta golf community for many years, and it reopened with the new renovations. Now is the perfect opportunity to make a tee time and enjoy a round of golf at Mystery Valley, located next to Stone Mountain in Lithonia. Take in all of the beautiful natural scenery while enjoying a fantastic round of golf. Go to MysteryValleyGolfCourse.com to book tee times. But one question will always remain: how did Mystery Valley get its name?
If you're the decision maker at your company, we have great news for you, for your HR department, and for your employees. A new and future-forward way to do health benefits is here from Thatch. Not only do your employees get better health benefits with Thatch, but you save an average of $1,620 per employee per year. That's right. You can save over $1,600 per employee per year. Plus, Thatch reduces the time your HR department spends administering benefits. Businesses all over the country love Thatch's breakthrough approach. Rather than a wasteful one-size-fits-all plan, Thatch empowers your employees by letting them customize their own benefits plans. And you save money and time while providing your employees with better health benefits, which works better for everyone. Book a demo with Thatch and we'll send you a $100 gift card. Visit thatch.ai/radio to book a demo for your gift card. That's THATCH.ai/radio. Thatch.ai/radio.
Are you tired of dealing with drafty, inefficient windows? Do you have certain rooms in the house that you can't keep cool in the summer or warm in the winter? Hi, I'm Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons Garage Entry Doors and Windows. It's time to upgrade these old windows. Replace them with double-pane, beautiful, energy-efficient windows. Your new windows will help you regulate a perfect temperature throughout your house. Start saving big money on your energy bills and improve the curb appeal of your home. Give us a call today at 770-517-7078.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 3 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffers from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. We provide testosterone replacement therapy, the P-shot, and treatment for ED, PE, and Peyronie's disease. There's not just one therapy that can solve these complex issues. When you visit our clinic, you're going to see me. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. 404-777-1911. Total Body Therapy of Georgia. 404-777-1911. Online at tbtofga.com.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. Okay, you're driving along. Suddenly you hear that horrible sound of metal and crunching. It's an accident.
accident, even if it's a little minor fender bender, man, that could be a nightmare. First, obviously, take care of yourself. But before you make a deal with an insurance company or anybody else, call David Van Sant with Van Sant Law. You know why? Because he used to work for the insurance company, so he knows how to get the right settlement and right away. Van Sant Law. Don't forget, if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. Protecting your interests. Insurance is great, but it's complicated. 855-GA-INJURY or vansantlaw.com.
The Extra 106.3 app is your live connection to the station, streaming free across Georgia. But it's also loaded with all our original shows and podcasts. Listen to exclusive shows from Janelle King, Ben Burnett, and so many more. Grab the Extra 106.3 app now and start streaming.
Los and I were talking about this months ago, and it came back up, though.
Months.
And it's called Moment of Contact.
I gave up on you, by the way.
Well, I don't know why.
Because I've given you so many things. Like, Jerry has told me, like, here, why don't you give this a try? And I'm like, cool, I'll give it a look. Like, this is pretty consistent with me. I find myself, and I get it because I have a little bit more time on my hands as far as I'm sitting at a volleyball gym a lot, like trying to find something to do. So if you give me a show or something to try or anything or an album, I'm like, I've got some time to kill.
You got like 4 hours at the gym.
True. So I will find a way to do it. I know that you're busier. You actually have to talk for a living, so you can't just turn your brain off for a couple hours.
I would like to.
But I pretty much feel like whenever I give you something, it's like throwing something down a well, Jerry. It ain't coming back, man.
Jimmy's in the well.
Nothing's coming back for me.
But this one, and I promised Los I'd watch it, and I did months and months ago, but I didn't know how it came back up. Dude, what even triggered the conversation again? Do you remember? I
just sent it to you, and it was Moment of Contact. We were just talking about a couple of fun documentaries.
Yeah.
And I said, well, why don't I give you one of my alien documentaries to watch? And you kind of scoffed at it, and I said, okay, here's the deal. Rotten Tomatoes, it was a 90%.
Yeah, and it was good. It was really good and very convincing.
So the story is of what happened in Varginha, Brazil. And it's a story about how this is their version of Roswell, except the townspeople are flat out telling you.
They believe it.
They're aliens running around our town.
Yeah.
Like they're trying, they've crash landed and they're trying to get away.
But this was based on what happened there in 1996.
Yes.
This particular thing where these three girls had an encounter with what they described as a 4-foot-tall, brown, oily skin, large head, huge red-eyed being. And the military rushed in and basically took whatever this was, and they never saw it again.
See, Jerry, first off, you see how proud I am of Tug that he actually, first off, he watched it. Mm-hmm. Next, he didn't accept the government premise because the government premise tried to tell the townspeople
that it was like a homeless man.
No, that was a homeless guy. He's a drunk.
Yeah.
And that's what you saw. And the girls are like, that's not what we saw.
I've seen drunk. That ain't drunk.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like,
I've been drunk.
I've been drunk. Yeah. Not that drunk. Yeah. I didn't turn brown and oily skinned and have red eyes. Well, red eyes sometimes.
Yeah,
okay, but that's a little different. But to then, did you not see where...
And where
they then go to the site and how the people like still cry about it. They're so emotional about it.
Even 30 years later, the people that they asked and interviewed, because this came out, 2022?
2022 is
so
James Fox who does these.
They asked they asked the girls, and then they asked the town people, and none of their stories have changed at all. Nothing that has been said or shared has deviated. And I know for me, just trying to recall stories from 30 years ago, I'm sure I miss details or add details that I don't mean to. And these girls didn't change anything, and it matches up because they show you the recording of what they said then, and then they ask them on camera as adults, and it never deviates. It's the exact same. These people are convinced, 100% convinced, that what they saw was some sort of alien life form. They even have this like water tower.
Yes, where they acknowledge this is their Roswell.
This is where
Roswell, New Mexico has a whole alien motif thing going on for the 1950s crash. They have their own thing there in Brazil. Did you not find it rather interesting?
Yes, of course.
I mean, entertaining's one thing. It's entertaining.
Yes.
I did find it interesting that when they talked about the two police officers, the one that actually handled the creature, how he then died shortly thereafter from the exposure to whatever it is.
I would assume.
And his partner would talk about it.
Yeah. And then the little kind of concrete fenced-in lot where everything had crashed, and they go back there and they're describing. They walk you through the whole event, the whole evening, and you're like, what? It just looks like the most South American little city. I mean, it looks very normal. There's nothing out of place. There's nothing that's like, these people are wacky, and here's why.
Did you not then say, man, no wonder Los gets into this stuff?
Yeah, no, it is fascinating.
Because that one's well done.
Of course it is. Yeah, the director does it right. And then, they go out in big open fields. If I recall, there was a scene where they go out in this big open field wherever in Brazil, and they start asking people that live in the area, y'all saw this. Y'all saw this coming down. And their stories match the girls' stories. Nothing deviates. No matter who they talk to or how many people they talk to, the story stays the same.
And it was weather-related in that they had nasty weather in the area, and it seems to have caused whatever the malfunction that created this thing, whatever it was, to land out in this field, and then to have these brown homeless people with big red eyes and oily skin be moving around their little town.
Yeah. Yeah, it's impressive. You should go watch it. I would encourage you, even if you're like me, very skeptical.
Moment of Contact.
Moment of Contact.
Oh, I'm so happy that you finally saw it. I'm just you finally placated me, and now I'm happy.
No, it's good.
Can I ask for a recommendation? We were talking about JFK earlier.
Yes.
And what Anna Paulina Luna is.
Yes, Anna Paulina Luna.
She's saying there's video, that NBC has video of Lee Harvey Oswald not being in the building. He's actually down when the assassination happened.
Is there a documentary, just from the top of your head, that you could recommend for someone who hasn't, like me, who hasn't ever really dug deep into it, that you would recommend to get the full picture?
Ooh, okay.
Not the Oliver Stone film JFK.
No.
Although JFK,
I know better than Oliver Stone.
Yeah.
Made a great movie with The Doors.
Okay, so now I'm trying to remember where it is, because this is done by I'm trying to remember the news station there in Dallas, and what it is it's let me see if I can find this real quick.
Let me tell you quick while you look for that.
Yes.
Moment of Contact, if you do want to see it, and it is a fascinating film, a fascinating documentary. You can get it on Apple. That's where I got it, Apple TV, but you also get it on Amazon Prime too. And it's like $3 to rent. So it's not like it's not going to bankrupt you.
Okay. You can go on YouTube, search WFAA TV.
WFAA TV.
So what they will have is they have an entire YouTube channel, and what it is was all of their reporting, starting from Kennedy and Fort Worth, running all the way through the assassination. Now, it's not going to jump into any kind of like, oh, who might have done this or where did it occur? But it's wild to hear it in real time, because we all have in our mind of like, I've seen the Zapruder film. I know what's happened. But to hear the news reporting as it's going on of the president's been shot, there's no information, here's where they're taking him, and to hear then by the time it ends with the reporting of his death, but you get the entire day. And it's really interesting just to see that it was a regular day in Dallas, Texas, and then everything went haywire.
You should share that on social media at Front Office Los. That way, if you want to see it too, you don't have to try to remember all that. You can just go to Los, at Front Office Los on social media.
Yeah, Kennedy and WFAA is...
What's the link on that?
Here, I was going to say, I'm just kind of showing you like some of the stuff it has here.
Yeah.
It has a number of different
got it.
videos, but like the best stuff, in my opinion, are the news reports where it has coverage, part 1, part 2, part 3.
Watching all those.
Yeah.
That way you know where to go. And Moment of Contact, watch both of them. It's just fun. It is so much fun because they talk to military folks that were like, we saw something. And the police.
We don't know what it is.
We don't know what it is, but we saw something. It is no doubt a fascinating story. Moment of Contact on Apple and on Amazon. And then Los is sharing right now that Kennedy assassination from WFAA out in Dallas.
Your current events and conspiracy theories.
There you go. We got them all.
You're on the Morning Extra.
Covered them all here on Extra 106.3.
Listen, they're only conspiracy theories until everyone finds out we were right.
There you go. Kind of like the Hunter Biden laptop. That was conspiracy for a long time. COVID was conspiracy for a long time.
That's Russian disinformation, sir.
Russian collusion was, conspiracy for a long time. Now none of them are, strangely enough. 9 o'clock hour brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999. 8779 Southern, southernexteriors.co. Y'all come back now, you hear? The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Tug, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
Trump's tariffs, 25%, Canada, Mexico, until they do something meaningful about the drug trafficking. But the left says it's going to mean that a car might cost as much as $4,000 more. To which I say, well, good.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.